Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code COMINGDOWN in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coming Down. My name is Matthew. I am joined here by my co-host Nathan.
Hello everyone.
Week 2 of being back in the saddle.
Right? Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice being back on the mic.
Yeah, man.
Getting these episodes out there.
I'm saying, like, I don't know. I don't know how bad seasonal depression affects you, but, like, this year it kind of kicked my ass, and, like, getting back in the saddle on this has really kind of helped jumpstart some of my, like, coping mechanisms to,
that's
like,
good.
Help me dig my head out of the sand.
That's good to hear. I'm a sort of a mixed bag. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like I get more down in the summer just because I'm a sun hater.
Oh, well, same, but it's a completely different cycle.
It's a different sort of thing, yeah.
I feel like I'm not as... Like, I don't have as good a handle on my summer depression as I do on my winter depression. It's like... You know, fucking Thanksgiving rolls around, like November starts fading away, and it's like, hello, darkness, my old friend. And I'm just like, oh yeah, like I can just cover myself in this warm, fuzzy blanket of like hiding in my basement, watching movies and playing playing video games and watching old movies. You know, like it's just what I do every winter because I've always lived in the dark.
Winter's for, though. You know?
Oh, absolutely. But it's like. It starts getting stinky in that basement, around New Year's, and it's like, dude, you gotta fucking shovel out your cave and like, emerge into the light at least a couple of times, because man,
do something besides work and come back and
at least send up a signal flare so that everybody knows that you're not dead. Like,
yeah, we hung out a couple times.
Oh, for sure. Good. I mean, as far as like being social, this winter hasn't been the worst. I've definitely tried to at least maintain contact with a few people and like not completely shut down, but it's been touch and go, I will say.
No, that's fair. No, I mean, I'm lucky that like I say, it's a mixed bag. Some years I kind of get it worse than others, and this one's been okay. I've just been sort of trucking along. I'm a very mixed bag right now with the quitting smoking thing.
Oh, so. I believe it, dude. Hell yeah. Fucking A. Well, and like part of my process this last week has been recognizing that, like, I mean, I get bummed out and I get the sads and like don't want to do anything, but Jesus, dude, like I am doing so great and like nothing is really wrong. I mean, like, there's shit going on, like, with my family and like, I mean, fucking politics and the world and blah, 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 but like, Jesus, dude, I got a fucking warm place to sleep and I've got enough fucking food and, I mean, like, all of my needs are met and I'm just like, oh, boo-hoo, like wintertime sadness. Like,
well, and that's the key, if you can keep it to just kind of, a case of the sads, you're all right, when the real like depression takes hold and you start with the spiraling, where everything starts compounding, where like it starts with the sads, but then and then you let the weight of the world and the politics and the family and the fucking your living situation and like every little thing you hate about yourself and like life, and then all of a sudden it's this big fucking travesty, that is your life, and that's like when it gets like way out of control.
You don't want to go there.
And you got to take the step back and be like, no, and like perspective is everything. It's like, all right, I got a job, it's not the best. I got a bed, it's not the finest, but whatever, right? Like, At
the end of the day, I have a home to sit in and watch old movies and feel sad. Wow, that's huge. So like, but thankfully, I'm I'm hitting the perspective wall
Yep.
and like being like, okay, time to pull myself up by my bootstraps and
Well,
like
that's great.
not wallow in this shit for too long, you know?
Yeah, and that's great. You know, that's the first. I mean, that's like the effort that everyone needs to make to like kind of get themselves out of those
Right.
depressive states. You know, and a lot of people don't have that in them, and you know,
Hey, you know,
if you can do that without meds and without you know, other things, that's fantastic. That means you're doing
Absolutely.
great.
that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know,
You're dealing with what a lot of people deal with at that point then, you know, which is, cases of the sads and just sort of bouts of like, fuck this.
Exactly.
Bouts of fuck this.
and I mean, it's not to say that like I'm not like at least slightly bummed out most of the time, but it's like we've said before, like, you know, if you're not depressed, then you're not paying attention, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
totally. There's a lot to be bummed out about, for sure.
That's just normal. So I'm not, you know, just recognizing all of this shit and trying not to hang on to it. And like,
It's good, man.
you know, we'll get there someday.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. One day at a time, man.
Exactly.
That's all we can do.
Fuck it, you know?
That's how I'm treating it with this fucking non-smoking bullshit.
Yep. But you know, for our listeners at home, like, you are still on the wagon, and
I
fucking
am.
kudos to you, buddy.
Yeah, I'll do my little check-in here. According to the app, I am now 13 days, 11 hours smoke-free.
Congrats,
So
man.
thanks, man. Yeah, haven't buckled yet. Honestly, it's been getting a little better. I've had a couple times that were pretty rough still, but then I've gone like a couple whole days without a single craving. So it's been like
Wow.
a really mixed bag.
But still, like, 24 hours, that's a pretty decent benchmark right there, you know?
Friday.
A milestone.
And again, it's the things, you know, Friday I was hanging out with friends and we were playing board games and drinking, and so it was all the cues, and I was like crawling out of my skin, you know?
Yeah, that's when it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, but then like Saturday and even Sunday, I didn't have a single craving like all day either of those days, or like they were very minor, like they went away very quickly. So yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, so it's just the little triggers. Like as we sit and record this right now, I'm like building a craving because I'm used to like running out for a smoke as soon as we're done recording this intro.
Right.
So I'm like, oh motherfucker, I've got 2 beers in me. Like, okay, but anyway, we're talking about it. But yeah anyhow. But again, you know, I haven't smoked, so I don't have to feel shame in front of the listeners. And please, listeners, like, send me pictures of cats and well wishes, because definitely I'm through like that first hard part, but I'm not out of the woods yet. So
Absolutely. And like this time is really about building those survival mechanisms, you know, about like not just getting the distance away from, you know, being in that, but also, you know, just finding those skills that let you move past it.
yeah, seriously.
Now that you've got the space to do it.
Well, right, totally. And yeah, you start building these new neural pathways and stuff, and that's the key. Because I mean, just everything's so ingrained and has been for so long. And so now it's like, rather than just sort of reacting like the monkey that I am, I have to think about it. And so I've been building kind of this voice in my head that every time because you know, obviously before, when you're a smoker, you're just like, I want a cigarette, boom, I'm out smoking before I can even finish the thought, right? And now I go, I want a cigarette, and then there's this little voice that goes, you sure about that? And that's all it takes, because then I have to sit there and go, well, now that you're asking, I guess I don't know if I'm sure about that,
right?
You know? So that's cool. It gives me that 1 second of hesitation to go like, all right, fine. Yeah, like, I guess maybe not.
That's huge.
So yeah, it's those little things, and those are what's kind of getting me through it. But man, motherfuckers, I'm sure there are not children listening to this, and if there are, fuck, don't start smoking. It's like my only fucking regret in life, man, because like, it was fine. Cigarettes are fun, but it's not like they got me anywhere.
No.
And now I'm going through this, you know, and it sucks.
Right. Well, and I think back to when I first started smoking, like, semi-regularly, and it was because I wanted to enhance my my high from weed.
Oh,
You know, the whole 33 and a third thing.
Right.
And I mean, like, sure, nicotine opens the blood-brain barrier and, like, blah, blah, blah. But are you really getting that much higher? And, like,
No.
if so, then, like, couldn't you just go rip another toke and, like, be in just the same fucking place?
No,
like,
you're not getting yourself that much further. And I mean, the little things I mean, yeah, you know, it's a different chemical sensation, so you're kind of like compiling a couple things together, but I don't even think that's real great. Like, nicotine goes best with a fucking shit ton of caffeine.
Yeah.
You know, you just get buzzing on some caffeine and then like smoke a cigarette and you're just like, yes, I'm feeling it. And alcohol, of course.
Sure.
Nicotine and alcohol are just a real nice feeling. But
And so, like, really, it's just more of like, you know, as a way of like getting a little tiny bit of an extra buzz. But like, Jesus, dude, like, is cancer really worth the extra like tiny bit of hedonism you get out of like smoking nicotine?
I mean, cancer and like, it's just, I don't know, it's so frustrating being sort of controlled by something, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like an evil corporation at the end of the day.
Right. and like, for our listeners out there who are still smokers, we are not trying to bag on your habit.
Oh,
like,
fuck
by
no.
any stretch. Like,
Fuck no,
you know,
man.
I'm definitely in the Bill Hicks camp of like, I still love the fucking smell of good tobacco.
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't hear us trying to yuck your yum, but like,
No, not at all. I mean, like, I would encourage people to quit,
oh sure,
but also like,
absolutely,
fuck, man, like, smoke, enjoy it.
yeah,
Like, seriously, man, like, I have always pondered, and I know it's like just my brain talking myself into it, but you know, they say like heart disease from stress is like the #1 killer in America.
oh
like,
absolutely.
I'll tell you what, man, cigarettes relieve a shit ton of stress. So like, maybe they give me heart disease in another way, but I wonder what they've done for me in stress relief.
I mean, sure, you know, like that.
Probably not more good than harm, but like,
But I feel like it, you know,
I don't know.
It's measurable. You know?
probably.
And I mean, like, who's to say that there aren't other stress management techniques that aren't just as effective? But the fact is, you found a stress management technique that was working for you, and that shouldn't be discounted.
Man, and it kicked ass when I was like a fired up youngster. You know what I mean? Like, not that I was ever like a loose cannon violent person, but like certainly the opportunity to go smoke a cigarette and walk away from like a volatile situation kept me from like saying and doing things that like could have gotten me in more trouble. So
absolutely. Well, and like, I've always kind of been a fan of just the change in scenery that smoking provides, at least, you know, since we all agreed that smoking in the house is fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Like it's kind of nice, like, just getting that change in space that you get every hour or two when you go out to smoke. You know, like,
totally.
And,
I mean, I always called it getting a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
even though, you know, it was not necessarily, but
plus, you know, like, even after I quit smoking, I'd still go and hang out with the smokers outside, and it was the same thing, except I didn't have to smoke. So
no, and I suspect I'll get to that point before too long where I can actually go outside with the smokers.
Oh, I don't recommend doing it anytime soon, but
it is brutal. Yeah, I'm just like, I just don't even like, no, I'm not gonna go stand out there,
because I thought I was strong early, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna go hang out. Like, I don't want to end this conversation. And so we'd be standing there, and like the first like week or two, I was like standing strong, you know. But then I was like, man, I got this. I can have a drag.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, yo, dude, can I hit your fucking smoke? And like, I'd take a drag, just one, while we were on that cigarette break, and then maybe later in the night, might ask for another drag.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a month goes by, and by the end of the month, I'm like, hey, can I bum a smoke?
Yeah.
And like, somebody was like, I thought you quit. And I'm like, it's just one for the night. Like, I'm probably only going to smoke half of it anyway. And they're like, okay, cool. And then like a week or two of that goes by, maybe a month, but I want to say it was a week or two. And I'm hitting, there's probably Doug or somebody
before you're
else
back on your bullshit.
Well, no, here's the thing. Thankfully, I had some really good friends, because like, I'm going to bum a cigarette off of somebody who's usually good about it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're like, oh, so you quit buying? And I'm like, dude, yeah, whatever. I mean, like, I don't have to have one. They're like, Yeah, and like, dude, it's cool. Like, if you want to start smoking again, I'm not gonna like be a dick about it. But here's where I'm at, and like, I need you to respect this for me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I give you a cigarette, you fucking hack and cough like you're gonna fucking hork up a lump. And it's really fucking bugging me, and I know that it's bothering other people around you. And so, like, if you want to smoke, no one's gonna tell you that you can't do that. But I'm telling you that I can't give you cigarettes.
Yeah. No, and that's good.
And I was like, whoa. That really just kind of put me in my place, you know? I'm like, okay, I need to stop being a drunken fucking lunatic and, like, really check what I'm doing.
Yeah, and, like, that isn't a good look, right?
It's
just
not.
like, okay.
You know, you come back from Christmas break and you're all like, oh, I quit smoking and yay. And everyone's like, good for you. And, like, then, you know, like, 2 months in, you're, like, basically smoking again, but out of someone else's pocket.
Yeah.
And you're being
and
really
also like
gross and sloppy about it.
Yeah, totally.
No.
Yeah, I think my friends, because I just love cigarettes so much, they'd be like, every time I bum you a cigarette, you just like have a fucking orgasm on the porch. It's really fucking a bad look.
Just won't shut up about how good it tastes and how much you love it. Like, I can't be a party to this.
Yeah. Straight up. Well, dear listener, we will not make every intro about quitting smoking, but you know, thanks for bearing with for at least these couple, and you know, maybe another one down the road as I sort of work through this. But yeah, about 2 weeks in, so that's pretty good.
Hell yeah, dude.
And yeah, I'm hoping to make it to the month, because I hear that it gets easy at the month, or easier, so
for sure,
where things start kind of settling in, like, okay, this is my life now.
Right, you develop new habits, you know, like you've got a lot of time under your belt.
Yeah, totally.
You're forging those new pathways.
Yep, for sure. Yep. So feeling all right.
Oh yeah, dude. Good for you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Well, suppose we probably shouldn't belabor this too much longer.
No, totally. So this one's gonna be rad. So this is our buddy who came in. We did. I guess I'll just forewarn, because I don't totally know how this is gonna edit out. I'm currently in the process of working on it. So it's going to be either 2 or 3 episodes, but it's our buddy who came in. He came in and did like 3 sessions with us, telling his story of going to India. And we recorded a ton of material.
We did. It was some marathon sessions.
Yeah. So it's not all getting released. I'm going to definitely trim it down into something a little more cohesive. But I mean, we talked for like 5 to 6 hours with this guy about his trip.
We absolutely did. And a lot
rules.
of it's great.
Yeah, which rules. You're actually going to hear a lot of it. And again, it might be like a 3-parter. So, because it's a really wild story.
A lot of it, most of it, like a ton of it is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
But the cool thing is he has been sending me pictures with his own captions for all of them. Over the course of the last like month. So I'm just going to kind of dump all of those into the show notes for all of the episodes coming up.
Love it.
I'm not going to try and piece out which ones should go where based on the story. Like, they're just all going to go in. But there's going to be a shit ton of cool pictures with cool captions from the storyteller.
Oh, some of these are so good.
Yeah, too. and the show notes are going to be excellent. So definitely check those out this week.
Absolutely.
And you can find those.
Yeah, and so those show notes are going to be available on the mothership, which is comingdownpod.com. You can find links to the show notes for this episode, as well as any other show notes that we have linked on our other episodes. You'll also find links to all of our platforms there, which, you know, I'm sure you know about if you're listening to this right now. You'll also find links to our Patreon. And quick thank you to everyone who's already donated.
Yes. Thank you, amazing. Thank you.
And if you want to donate $1 or more, like our first tier is just $1, and that's at patreon.com/comingdownpod. You know, we have a lot of extra content that we've already uploaded there, and there's more to come, and just $1 a month gets you access to that, as well as different levels of merch and other stuff. Like if you wanted our logo on something, that's the way to do it.
Yep,
so
indeed. Lots of fun goodies there.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And if you'd like to give us a rate and review to help us out with visibility, please head over to Stitcher and just let us know what you think. And if you'd like to get in contact with us, that's at Coming Down Pod on Twitter. That's probably where we're the most active on social media.
That's where you should send me the cat memes.
Absolutely.
And your support to help me quit smoking.
Yes, please snowblind our inbox with cat memes. We would love it.
Totally.
Also, if you'd like to be on the show, you can hit us up there, or you can hit us up on comingdownpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Even if you don't want to be on the show, just let us know what you think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's start the marathon.
Let's go.
I'll start at the beginning and get to India because like the crazy stuff happens in India.
Yeah, totally.
You know? So what this starts out as is me seeing a video on a friend's Facebook page of an auto rickshaw, which is one of those little three-wheeled convertible, although I've never seen one with the top down.
Right.
Things you see, little carts, gas-powered vehicles you see in Thailand and China and India. They're usually used as taxis or transportation for lower caste or lower class, not lower class, I guess lower class, just poorer people, you know, are transported around in those typically, or taxis sometimes. A video on Facebook of a company called The Adventurists, where they've got these adventures where basically you lease one or rent one from them, create a team, name the team whatever you want, design the decoration on it that you want, and then they have people there that paint it for you. They prep them. They have a start line, a staging area. They give you training on how to drive it. They have a party at the beginning. They throw a party a few days in, and there's a party at the finish line 2 weeks later. And it's not a race, but it's a rally. So it's they say, please don't finish first. Because you're not there. It's not a race. It's a rally. So we want you to get out. We want you to explore. We want you to get off the beaten path. You know, we're throwing a party in 2 weeks. You don't have to be there. You can take as long as you want to finish.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to the party, that's when it is.
Right. Just try and time it around 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's kind of this all-inclusive vacation package that's a little bit. No, okay.
Not even. If by all-inclusive you mean a Rick, a start line, a finish line, and a few parties, yes.
Okay.
There is no map. There is no lodging. There is no accommodations. There is no gas. There is no mechanic. There is here you go. Here's this piece of shit rickshaw with 70,000 kilometers on it that's two-stroke that it runs, but like, you know, we're gonna sell you a bunch of extra parts at the start line because you're gonna need head gaskets, you might need clutch cable, throttle cable, you might need, you know, gaskets for the carburetor, you might want to go through the thing before you start because your electrical system might be held together with fucking electrical tape. You know.
So all-inclusive is the wrong word, but it is sort of this package you buy, and you get some things out of it.
You buy a place in the rally. Yeah. And what that gives you is you can have as many people on your team as you want. An auto rickshaw, I would say, holds 2 people comfortably. Scratch that, 2 Americans comfortably. Okay. Like I've seen like 5 Indians piled in them. Sure. Indians do not typically eat the type of foods that Americans eat. Right. And they typically have more manual labor jobs than Americans, so their physique is slightly slimmer than the average American.
Look, we all know what Americans look like.
So I would say that, and there was a lot of like British, Australians. I mean, it was a lot of Europeans. There were some Indian teams that we actually made friends with. Cool. And when I say we, this was me seeing this video on Facebook of a rickshaw going through the Himalayas and people getting stuck and like having problems. I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Like, me who had never traveled internationally, this looks like a good way to start. Let's take a piece of shit through the Himalayas.
You'd never traveled internationally?
I had never traveled
fuck
internationally.
It, let's take a souped-up golf cart through India?
Not even Mexico, huh?
No, nothing.
Wow.
And so I thought, okay, so I went on their website and they said, well, if you want to do the rickshaw run Himalaya, which is high altitude, like you're in the Himalayas, there's very little support. We want you to do the rickshaw run India first.
Sure.
And still, even though there's more support in India, but there's still, it's not like America where it's like, oh, I'm just going to go check into the Jiffy Lube. And
there's just more population in India than in the Himalayas.
Exactly.
So you're not going to get stranded.
Exactly. So I was like, well, I want to do the rickshaw run Himalaya, but I'm going to have to do this India first.
Now, if you did a big team, so, you say 2, maybe 3 people, depending on your stature, fit on one of these things.
Right.
So would you just get multiple rickshaws if you had a bigger team?
So there were some teams that were like 6, 7 people, and they purchased multiple ricks.
Yeah,
exactly. The most people I saw in one was 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were kind of skinny guys, whatever. Yeah. And actually, there was one team I think was 4 that they weren't really super skinny, and it was like, man, that's going to be uncomfortable because
no kidding.
This adventure went from Bangalore, India, to Jaisalmer, India, which was, I think, when we finished, it was 3,400 kilometers we'd traveled.
Wow,
which was about 2,000 miles.
Yeah.
So that would be like Portland to Vegas and back.
That's
roughly.
Portland to LA and back because we just did it for Desert Days. So
in a 7 horsepower, 2-stroke, 3-wheeled vehicle on most of the time dirt shitty roads.
We're driving from Portland to LA and back on a riding lawnmower.
Basically, yeah.
No, thank you.
Oh, dude!
I mean, I'll do it in India, but not LA.
No, you wouldn't want to do it here.
Yeah.
So it was actually Thanksgiving of 2017. I just said, I was laying on my bed and I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy this space, it was about $1,800 for the team space. I'm gonna buy this and fuck it, I'll figure everything else out because it's like a year away. It's the end of December 2018, so I've got about a year to get my shit together. That's plenty of time.
Right.
But and really I would say if you want to go somewhere or do something, fucking buy the tickets without thinking. Yeah. This is my advice. Buy the tickets without thinking, because then you're committed.
Right.
And then you've got however much time to figure it out. And then figure it the fuck out. Because you're going to fucking do it. So just go do it.
You don't want to just throw away the $1,000 you spent on a ticket or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, I'm $1,800 into this. Now I got to get airfare.
Yeah.
I've got the lodging, thanks to Airbnb, it's pretty easy, honestly. Because cellular connection over there is, I would say, in the big cities, fine. You get outside of the big cities, it can be spotty. There's some places where there's nothing. Like we were going through the Western Ghats and there was nothing. But it's like the equivalent of going through the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
There's fucking nothing.
Well, even here in Oregon, like you lose cell signal for about an hour in the Cascades, no matter which pass you're on.
There's even spots on I-5 you lose it, which is aggravating.
Yeah.
Like down near Roseburg, there's a dead spot where it drops.
Absolutely.
Fucking time. I hate it.
Lame.
Yeah, very. Especially considering what cell service costs in this country. It's like pharmaceuticals, it's a lot cheaper overseas than it is here.
No kidding.
So I bought the spot, and then I was like, okay, well, I want a teammate. I need a teammate, but I don't want, because I'm a pretty easygoing guy travel-wise, I just kind of let shit roll off my back, and I try not to have a hard itinerary, because if you have a hard itinerary, you're always running behind, you're always off schedule, you're always over budget. It's like,
and then you're just stressing out about it.
And you're not enjoying your trip.
Yeah. Fuck all that noise.
Exactly. So it was like, okay, I need somebody who can just kind of seat of the pants go, who can take a month off, because I want to take a train through India. That's kind of like bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah, cool.
So while I'm there, I want to take a train. So I'm going to take a train from Jaisalmer to New Delhi.
Nice.
That's like 21 hours of train ride. But it's through fucking India. Like, I want to do it. So, and it's cheap. So
sure.
that's going to, and then, so I was originally figuring about 3 weeks. Well, not everybody has the luxury of taking 3 weeks off of work.
Yeah, for real.
Right? I mean, it's in this day and age, it's like rent is expensive, food is expensive. We all got bills, we all got families. It's around Christmas time.
A lot of jobs don't offer like PTO for that long.
Right. So, yeah, they'll fire your ass. Like, no,
that
you can't.
too.
Yeah, like, no, you can't take the time off. And so it also had to be somebody that could afford to go, somebody who could take the time off, and honestly, somebody that was going to be a good travel partner.
Yep.
I don't want to be fucking babysitting someone.
That's huge.
And I also don't want somebody who's going to be like militant about shit and like wanting
We're
to
on an agenda.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that. So I was on Facebook, and it was like, which I'm not anymore, but it was like, okay, I kind of put out an open thing like, hey, like, friends, like, if you were doing this trip, I put it out like, hey, I bought an entry into this trip. It sounds fun. Like, I want somebody to go with me. Like, what kind of, like, I want to take applications.
Yeah.
Like, for who wants to go. And it's like, honestly, I was willing to foot the entire bill of the purchase of the adventure, which is $1,700-$1,800. Like, I'll pay for that. You don't even have to chip into that. You got to pay your own airfare,
Right.
meals, that kind of stuff. But like,
But you also just got to be cool.
you gotta be cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
that's
so
cool.
like, what kind of questions would you ask like of like a potential teammate?
Right.
You know.
Right.
Also, I was raising money for charity. So part of this is they ask you to raise £1,000 for Cool Earth, which is
the company that puts this on.
Yes, the Adventurists, they raise money for Cool Earth, which is a company that helps prevent deforestation of the rainforests.
Awesome.
Nice.
Right. And then they say, please, we ask, it's not mandatory, but we ask you to raise £1,000, because they're a British company, for Cool Earth. In addition to that, you can continue to raise money for Cool Earth, that's rad, or you can raise money for your own charities. Mm-hmm. So then I partnered with a charity here in Portland that is and they're advocates for sex workers, and
Nice.
I decided to raise money for them.
That's
I
awesome.
raised around $2,000 for them,
Oh,
raised $1,000 for Cool Earth, and I ended up taking a friend of mine that I work with. He will remain anonymous on this. He is a very high economic class, you know, we'd put it like he's not a 1%er because that's like billionaires, really,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
He's
He's well off.
3, you know, like
Yeah.
very, very well off.
Yeah.
Was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Earned what he has, so he's not out of touch.
Cool.
Which is fucking rad, because
Hell yeah.
I feel like maybe the universe or God or whoever has not let me get exorbitantly wealthy, because I would probably let it go to my head.
Hey,
You know? And I'm fine with
That's
that.
a
Like,
test for anyone.
you know, it's like
likely yourself has not let you do that.
Probably.
You know?
yeah, or that, you know.
I mean, we're just the best at self-sabotage, but sometimes we know better.
yeah, I
Sometimes
am.
we know to keep ourselves in check and live within our means, right?
I don't live within my means, but like I really feel like if I all of a sudden became I give a lot of money away. I created a scholarship that I give money away. I have 2 scholarships I give away every year out of my own pocket. I have a family that I donate money to over in India and on the regular, and then I try to raise some money for charities. So I feel like I'm generous, but at the same time I feel like I could easily lose touch with reality, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like myself, like you were talking about on the last cast, how you know who you are and you like who you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like who I am, and it would be a tragedy to lose that.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
so
it's good. It's good to keep yourself in check like that too.
Yeah.
you can always improve.
Yeah.
And you can always be a better version of yourself.
Always.
However, I definitely like myself, and so
good.
I would be friends with myself. So
Yeah, right
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
So anyway, I ended up talking. It took about 6 months to talk my coworker / friend into coming with me, because he has a lot of complications, a lot of obligations in his life, and so he had to kind of clear his schedule to do this. And then he finally committed, which I was super pumped about, because this guy has traveled all over the world. He's been Afghanistan, he's been to Kashmir, he's been to Pakistan, he's been to India 7 times.
Oh, wow. Well, that's who you want on your side.
Right.
No
He has friends there, and so...
Oh, cool.
And he's just been... I think he's in his 20s. He backpacked like 45,000 miles, he said. And I mean, this was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So he was in Afghanistan and Pakistan before they were bomb craters.
Yeah.
Before they had Islamic, extremists.
Right.
Back when it was just kind of a little monarchy.
Well,
Closer to a first world country than a third world country.
Right.
So
before all the Arab Spring stuff too.
Well, and before
before
our fucking clandestine organizations had started funding the rebel groups to take over their government.
Before the wars with the Soviets.
Right.
Right. Just when it was more modern, and that's not necessarily saying European, although a lot of them were occupied by the British. They were just more standing on their own 2 feet and not being interfered with. Yeah. And so their cultures could flourish the way they're intended to flourish.
I heard Iran in the 70s was amazing.
Yeah, it's wild if you look at pictures.
Oh, I know.
Of just Iran in the 70s, and it's just like, it just looked like here.
Yeah, it looked like New York in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, didn't get off,
No, it's
off
okay.
topic there,
But yeah, wild. So you got this really cool worldly traveled dude to roll with you, and that's awesome.
That's perfect.
And so I said, hey, like here's the itinerary. He's a planner, but he's like, okay, we need to have like an idea. Like he was really good about, because he's traveled so much. He's like, I want on paper like our passport numbers, our flight numbers, our itinerary, like just so we have an idea. And so if we lose our phones, if we lose our passports, we've got all that shit on paper. I'm like, that is smart. So he had like done all sorts of work, and he's like, can you take a couple extra days? I want to go to Varanasi, and I want to show you Varanasi because it's this ancient city, and it's got the Ganges, and that's where they burn the bodies, and Mark Twain wrote about it, and I was just like, cool. And he's like, and the Buddha, that's where he just outside of Varanasi is where he received enlightenment under the whatever tree, and I'm just like, yes, you're the exact person I want going with me. And then I want to go to where do we go? It was Varanasi, and then I want to go to Hyderabad because I have some friends in Hyderabad, and my friend was the not the financial advisor. That's the wrong person. Like the person who handles the finances for the Nazim, which was like sort of an independent ruler of an area in India before the partitioning.
Wow. Okay.
And at the time was the richest person in the world.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Like, the British really fucked with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Now,
when did
all
they not?
these royal jewels, like the Hope Diamond and all these crown jewels, those are Indian stones.
They stole the Hope Diamond.
Not only
from
did they
India.
steal them, they cut them up
Yeah.
into smaller jewels to
Right.
put into the crown jewels and the scepters and all this shit. And then, oh, okay, so now you're a free country, but yeah, we're not giving any of your shit back.
Yeah.
So
They're still trying to get the Hope Diamond back. Fuck.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
so good luck. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'll get to it later. Side note, like about going into their temples and seeing their collections. Mm-hmm. I'll get to that later. But so anyway, so he wanted to go. So he's like, can you take a couple extra days here? Can you take a couple extra days
And so he was
there?
on board with your extra time too.
Oh, yeah. It ended up going from my 3 weeks-ish to 4 weeks.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, this guy knows a lot of connected people, and he's been to a lot of places. And then he's like, well, how do you feel about going here instead of here? Because I kind of had an idea. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see the Taj Mahal. That's in Agra, about 3.5 hours south of New Delhi. I still want to see the Taj Mahal. However, I have a feeling it's like a lot of big touristy places where you go and you're like, God damn it, there's a million fucking people here all doing their Instagram bullshit.
Yeah.
And it'll take away from it. And so I said, you know what? If there's someplace you want to go, it's all new to me.
Right.
I've not been to any place in India, so I don't give a shit. Like, if you want to go there, let's do it. So it kind of turned into, we're doing this, and then you want to go on this tour for about a week and a half or so let's do that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Right. So I had made my flight plans with like airline miles, so I flew Delta One class over to India, actually to Amsterdam, but then I screwed up. When I bought my ticket, I did it wrong. So I flew Delta One class from Portland to Amsterdam, which was rad, because that's like, you have your own cubicle on the plane.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, that's
they
awesome.
like give you ice cream with like actual silverware.
Whoa.
And like, I think I ate 4 meals.
Whoa.
I mean, it's like an 11-hour flight,
Yeah.
so it's a while. But your
Still,
seat
yeah.
lays totally flat, it's like,
Wow.
you get actual noise-canceling headphones, and it's... And then I still saw motherfuckers complaining, like sitting in their seats in Delta One class, fucking complaining.
About
it's like
what?
food, or like it's not quite segregated enough from the rest of the people.
I
Like,
can
seriously.
hear the plebeians.
Oh,
back in
yes, and
class.
it's just like, do you realize that you're on a fucking plane laying flat on your back with a pillow under your head,
My
Yeah.
God.
and you're bitching?
Yeah.
Like, what pleases you? What
Right.
what do you have to do to
Nothing,
be happy?
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm like, please and thank you. And
Yeah,
right.
Because I don't fly like that. Like, I used airline miles, and it was just amazing.
Hell yeah.
But then I got to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam to Mumbai, I had to fly on SpiceJet, which is an Indian subcontractor for Delta. And that I was like, my flight screwed up. I'm not in first class on this jet, but whatever. I just had to deal with it. And I mean,
Spice
whatever.
must flow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
Like, how can I work a Muad'Dib joke in here?
yeah, right.
What movie is that?
Dune.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, Jesus. They have to give people briefings on not squatting on European toilets on the Indian jets,
wow.
because they're not keen to European toilets for the most part. And most Indians have not flown. I mean, when you see an Indian at the airport in the U.S., they're probably more well-off Indians.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but probably, because it's
Sure.
very expensive. So they're more used to the European stuff, and they're probably a higher caste of Indian. But when you are in India or in a foreign country and there's Indians flying, it's cheaper to fly those routes. And so they're not necessarily, maybe they've never flown on a jet before, and so they're not maybe as familiar with it, and they're used to pit toilets or squat toilets. And so they don't understand, like, hey, you don't climb up on the seat and squat on the seat, you just sit on the seat.
Oh, sure.
And this goes back to your last week thing, talking about just sit your ass on the toilet, right? Don't fucking hover. I mean, there's a point, okay, that first person hovered, now there's piss all over the seats, and now you have to hover, but...
Right, yeah.
So you'll go in the bathroom, there'll be goddamn shoe prints on the toilet, and it's like, well, fuck, I can't...
God.
And I'm not gonna sit on shoes bottoms, it ain't happening.
Right?
Right, so there's that. But then,
God for ass
he and I
baskets.
flew separate but even those, like, there's still some flesh touching,
Yeah, oh, no. Tell me about it.
So, we flew separately. He flew British Airways, first class the whole way. And, he can afford that. Awesome. I don't begrudge anybody who has worked for what they have spending their money in a manner that they see fit.
Oh, sure.
And he is a very charitable person, a very giving person. And I'll actually have a little story about that towards the end of the thing. So it's like, this guy, he's not out of touch, and he is not greedy, and he's very generous. So it's like, if you want to fly first class and you can afford it, man, do it. And good for you.
Oh, yeah, dude, yeah. I mean, like, if I could fly first class all the time, I would. For sure.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to fly first class half a dozen times or so, and
Like, Keanu's the only one who doesn't.
Fantastic. He doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to get us on a tangent there, but yeah, like, Keanu, always flies like economy class, and like
That's rad.
We'll
How do you like that guy more?
We'll do,
I know, right?
He'll do selfies with anyone who asks him.
That's awesome.
Like he just loves talking to people,
and he doesn't grab women inappropriately.
Actually, this is a meme from his Reddit, his subreddit, which is that he always hover hands whenever.
Yes, I've seen pictures. I'm like, right on, man. Like that's cool because there's no misconstruing intention.
You know, he'll put his arm around you, but it won't touch you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and that's cool.
Yeah.
No, he played my hometown years and years ago, and he was Bill and Ted famous. Maybe not Matrix famous. No, maybe the Matrix had come out, but he's a musician. His band came and played.
Owns a motorcycle company.
Yeah, tiny little venue, and they played. And my buddy, who was a cab driver, actually picked him up.
Oh, that'd be
and and he just called a cab after his gig.
Whoa, right?
You know? Just like totally just like down to earth, cool guy.
Yeah, just
right
chill
on.
dude. Anyway,
so
welcome to Keanu Cast.
Yeah, followed up by Mr. Rogers, and Bob Ross, and then Steve Irwin.
Nailed it.
So I flew over a day ahead of my friend, and so that was a trip too. Like, okay, so right before I went to India, I went to Mexico for 6 days, and I went to Tulum, and I went with an ex-girlfriend, and it was all right. But I'm not really the type of person that just, hey, let's go somewhere and sit on the damn beach for a week. That's not my style. I like adventures. I like exploring. I like culture. I don't like going to another country and experiencing America.
Right.
Trying to get out of America. And not that I love America. I think we live in a fantastic country, and we're very fortunate to have all that we have. However, when I go to another place, I want to experience their culture.
Right.
That's why I'm there. So Mexico didn't really do it for me. But it was only 6 days. It was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't really feel like that was like cutting my teeth internationally. That was like baby food of international travel.
Yeah.
So then I get into, I fly from here to Amsterdam to Mumbai. I have to go through customs in Mumbai. It was like 4 hours in customs. Thankfully, I had a 6-hour layover, and I thought, I'm going to explore the Mumbai airport, and this is so cool. I barely had enough time because the customs was so long to get through customs. That I had like an hour. By the time I got through customs and then got my bags and then got through everything, it was like,
wow,
man, I have just about enough time to get through.
You just sat in a line?
Stood in a line.
Wow.
A snaking line. Well, so I show up, you get off the plane, go up to customs, which is like this gigantic room with about 400 lines.
Oh, God.
And it's like, okay, I think I need to go to this one. So you go to that one and snake your way to the front. And they're like, no, you need to go over that way to the I'm pointing to the far end of the room, go down there. And so it's like, if you think you're going to go down there and just cut to the front of the line, you're wrong. So you got like 6,000 people like staring at you, the death stare.
Right.
So you got to go to the back of that line, and then I went through that line, and then they said, no, you're still in the wrong place, so you got to go over to this line.
Oh, no.
And it was
what were all the different lines for? Like where you came from?
Domestic people that were in like Indians that were traveling, people that had regular passports or regular visas. Sorry, because you have to have a visa as an American to go into India. It's not like the Schengen agreement where you just go into Europe and like, just get off the plane and just wander in.
Yeah, right.
It's like, nope, you've got to have a visa, and so visas are easy to get from India. So I got an e-visa, which is online, and I hear you hear stories like, it could take weeks to get your visa. I applied for it one night, and the next morning I had it.
Nice.
So it was like, I now maybe that's not the norm. I would say don't wait till the last day to apply for your visa to India.
Sure. Right.
But I would bet you that you get it very fast, unless you're on a watch list or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if you're from Pakistan. India, Pakistan, not really keen on each other.
Right, yeah.
So if you're Pakistani, you might actually have trouble getting a visa into India unless you're doing something very official.
Yeah.
So I had my e-visa. Well, there was an e-visa line I was supposed to be in, but it's clear as mud, really.
Right, exactly.
It's in English, but it's just not clear. So I had to learn. Like, if I went back to India, I would know where I'm supposed to go, and that's fine, but I had an e-visa. I should have just paid attention to the line that said e-visa, but I wasn't exactly sure. I kind of followed the crowd to slaughter.
Yep.
Yeah, and was wrong. So 4.5 hours, I got through customs, and then from there I had an inter-India flight, meaning I went from Mumbai to Bangalore. And Mumbai is, I think, the second or third largest city in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's roughly 20 million people.
Huge.
I only saw a portion of the airport because I was basically going from customs to my gate, so I don't really know. I can't grasp how big the Indian Mumbai airport was. But then I got to Bangalore, and Bangalore I think is the 10th or 11th largest city in the world.
Good Lord.
And it's about 12.5 million people. And that airport was pretty, it didn't seem that large for as large as this city is.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just that there's not a lot of Indians that travel. In fact, I would say the vast majority of Indians don't fly.
Yeah.
Or they don't fly out of their international airport.
Sure.
Because it's, the vast majority of them don't make a ton of money. They
It's
just don't.
fucking expensive.
And flying, it's cheaper over there, with the exchange rate.
Yeah.
But I imagine for them it's still fucking expensive.
Well, right. Their economy doesn't scale with ours very well.
No. So it's, when I was there, the currency, the Indian rupee was about 70 to 1. So 70 rupee to $1. So, and
what's like a cup of coffee?
Well, you didn't really drink coffee, you drank chai.
Sure.
And not like Starbucks chai. Like their chai was like little roadside stands, and it'd be like a metal cup that was slightly larger than a shot glass with like boiling hot chai.
Whoa.
That was the most delicious fucking, if I could just find it here, even Indian markets don't seem to, it's masala, it's like milk, chai, turmeric, pepper. God, what else do they put in it? I don't know, but it's fucking good.
Yeah.
It's so good, of course, the location, atmosphere is part of it, but
sure, but those fresh ass spices, dude.
Yes,
they're on the spice route.
Exactly, Marco Polo cruising through there and shit. And it's like 10 or 15 rupee for a cup of chai.
Okay.
So
less than $1, so nothing.
Yes, like 15, 20 cents for a cup of chai. And you can have 2 or 3 of them. And honestly, the people there are so friendly that it's like they'll want to buy you your chai just so they can talk with you and have a conversation. Because it's like you'll pull over a little roadside stand, there'll be truckers there having their morning chai.
Wow.
And just farmers having their chai, and they want to talk to you and have chai with you, and it's a social thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That is cool.
And it's chai, there's a lot of shit in India you can't eat, as delicious as it smells and scrumptious as it looks, because who knows how it was prepared, who knows how clean their hands were, who knows how clean the dishes were that it was prepared in, what temperature was it cooked to,
right?
And just like all the wild local microbes too,
Yes.
Just,
Well, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Like you just don't have the
bacteria,
the fortitude,
the gut, gut. Yeah, your gut microbes aren't there. But chai is one of the things that you pretty much could drink it out of a dirty pan because it's boiled.
Exactly.
So the chai is always safe. Granted, if somebody shits in it, but nobody does that because they eat it and they drink it. It's not like they're savages. It's like they're, I don't know. Some people freak out. In Bangalore, I went to the Chickpet Market, which is this 500-plus-year-old street market, and it's like Indiana Jones street market. You know what I mean? I needed to get a key made for my rickshaw because they gave us one. I'm like, oh, this is a trap. We have one key. It's like, no, I'm gonna get another key made for sure.
Yeah.
So you go into the market, and it's like, this street is fucking dresses. This street is children's toys. This one is pots and pans that are hand turn, like Zildjian symbols, like the metal workers are on this street. This key corner is the key makers, and they got a fuck ton of keys, and they take your key and they put it in a vise with their blank. They'll find a blank that matches it, and then they put it in a vise, and then they hand file it. They don't have key machines, it's like
right.
They make you a key from scratch.
Wild.
I bought that shit.
And it costs so it's like some 10-year-old kid cut me a key at his dad's key stand.
Whoa.
And it was 50 rupees. And he was probably gouging me, and you're supposed to haggle. Right. But I look at it rob me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I make enough money that, like, I could finance your family for a long time. So if you want 50 rupees,
right.
I'm not going to haggle you to 30 rupees.
Right.
I don't fucking care.
Well,
like, I'll pay your price.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not one of those countries where people think it's rude if you don't haggle.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
In Morocco, according to my mom and dad, like, if you don't haggle, they consider it very rude.
Huh.
And it's offensive.
Wild.
I never felt like any of them took offense at it.
So yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm sure they were more than happy to take my money.
It's like it's just standard to haggle. I mean, like in Mexico, like if you're in the market, you haggle a little bit, you know. But like, it's not,
and they're gouging you anyway.
It's not like they give a shit if you
Yeah.
don't haggle, you know. But in Morocco, like, it's this cultural thing, like. If you're not willing to haggle with the merchant, it must mean that you don't like him. You know? So he gets offended, and then he's like, "Well, fuck you." You know?
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it didn't feel like that at all, and I really felt like, you know what, I'm just gonna pay whatever these people ask. I really don't give a shit. Like it's their prices are so low.
I mean, fuck it, man.
And. So I got to Bangalore a day before my friend, and so that was a trip too, because I'm in Bangalore, and I'm like, I'd been on a plane for like 26 hours was the journey from
like
here
the
to
full travel
Bangalore.
time.
Yes, it was like 26, and it's like, man, my back hurts. I want to go get a massage. So I went down to I get to the hotel, so I took an Uber from the airport to the hotel, and then they got a guy to help you. Oh, this customer service, man, second to none. Like, you show up, they greet you, they take your bags, and it's like, man, my bags are heavy, and I felt very guilty. Like, no. Like, this dude's older than me. It's like, no, like, I can get, but they insist. Like, they're not doing their job if they're not carrying your bag. Wow. And so I peeled off 500 rupees and gave it to the guy. My friend gave him like 50 rupees when he showed up, and I was like, I'm like, that's all you're giving him? And he's like, that's typical. Like, that's what you give him. He knew India better than I did.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, well, because I gave him 500, and the dude was like freaking out, right? Well, I didn't realize that, like, okay, you give him like 50. Maybe if he does a really good job, 100 rupee.
Yeah, like 500 rupees. You just bought that dude like 100 cups of chai.
That was like probably a couple days' wages.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, whatever, man. Like,
sure.
But he was like, he almost, like, I went downstairs. It was like I had bought a servant. Like, this guy was on it. Like, God. Anything I needed. But it was like, it was kind of like, I felt like Dumb and Dumber, like when they're at the hotel in Aspen, you know? It's like, there you go. There you go. Like, you're not money, you know? It's like just tipping everybody.
Right.
Because it's like, I like to be nice, and it's like, I know, like, there's no way these guys are making anything close to what I make, and I am super...
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. And I am super happy to, like, because, man, I've had jobs where I don't make dick, like, by this country's standards.
Right.
And so it's like, I'm in a position where I feel like I'm doing pretty good, and I am more than happy to share. And it's like,
for sure.
Like, man, there was jobs I've had where you'd get like a stupid generous tip from a customer, and it's like, that makes your fucking day.
Absolutely.
Or more, maybe a couple days, depending on how much you're getting paid.
Somebody tips you 30-40%, you're gonna be like, holy shit, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So
there's those rare like 50% tips.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Like, I tip my barber 100%.
Hell yeah.
I do. Because he is the best fucking barber I've ever had in my life. And he's kind of a friend at this point. And it's like, I don't really feel like I'm buying his friendship. It's just like, nope, I feel like you undercharge me for your service. You always take way longer than I think you should for what I get.
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to pay. Like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so I had basically a servant, and I'm like, I want to get a massage, right? So I just Googled, like, massage near me. I mean, Google works in Bangalore just the same as it does here.
Yeah.
Well, and I found like a list of places. Well, it's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. So I went down to the front desk, because their concierge down there is an actual concierge.
Right.
Not like, I can Google that for you. Like, they know the local places, like a concierge should know.
Yeah.
Like they used to know. Like, you know, you used to be able to ask the front desk, hey, what's a good place to eat near here? Not like, get on my... It's like, dude, I can fucking Google Yelp.
Right.
Tell you what, any place that doesn't already have a list for their concierge is fucking up. Like, if their concierge has to fucking Google it, then
You're right. Absolutely. But there's a lot of places that are that way now.
Well, I know.
And
it's sad.
And you go into like
lost art.
Yeah, it is. Well, and it's just the decline of customer service, the decline of expectations, and I feel like you can blame part of that on Walmart. Because it's like the price is what matters. It's like no, the customer service is what matters.
Well, especially in an internet economy, like that's the only thing that matters is the customer experience. Like,
right, that's what I'm paying for.
You can get the product online for cheaper than you could at a store almost every time.
And when I worked at Best Buy, we always called ourselves a showroom for Amazon. You know, like if you want to come. If you want to come talk to somebody about a computer and then walk out the door and order it online, like, you go to Best Buy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't go into Best Buy. Like, I'll buy shit in Best Buy if I get the good customer service.
Sure.
Because it's like, if you're going to, like, if you know the specs on this device, then you've done your homework. If you're going to, like, I'm just going to get on. It's like, no, don't trouble yourself. I could have done that without driving my happy ass down to Best Buy. I don't need to fucking do that. I've got Amazon on my phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went down to the front desk and I said, hey, what's a good place for a massage? And he's like, oh, like I'd found one place. He's like, no, that's not. He's like, that's prostitute. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, you know, I was dating a girl at the time, and I was like, no. That's, and I don't fool around. I'm like, no, that's. I want like an actual massage, and so
I want a back rub.
Yes, a back rub, not a front rub. It's like, I'm not looking for the Robert Kraft. I want a massage. And so he pointed me to a place, and I was like, okay. And so it was kind of a trip, because it was like I was on the opposite side of the world from every single person I knew.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. It was like every other human being that I have ever interacted with in my life is on the other side of the planet right now.
Yeah, you're about as far away as you can get.
About, yes.
Like diametrically opposite.
Yeah. So that was kind of crazy to wrap my... Like, I pulled out my, like, where's my iPhone? And I was like, scroll out till it's the whole planet. And I was like, spin it. And I'm like, whoa. It's like... And then, like, you know, like Snapchat, and you scroll out and you can see the whole world. And it's like, holy fuck. Like, everybody is so far... Like... If the shit went down right now, like, I'm alone.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It was a little bit scary, but only in the sense of, like, a scary, like, unknown.
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, holy shit, now, like, how much, and now I was like, okay, now I see opportunity. Like, I can go fucking anywhere. So I got an Uber, and over there you can do auto rickshaw Ubers. So I took a auto rickshaw Uber, because I was like, I'm going to be driving one of these fuckers for the next 2 weeks. I might as well get used to it.
Yeah.
Because you can take fancy Ubers over there, just like here, where it's a nice air-conditioned car, you're sealed off from the world, antiseptic, you don't have to fucking touch anything. I was like, fuck no, I want the fucking... fumes, I want the smog, I want the fucking shit smell, I want the fucking honking, I want the insane traffic, I want the bumps, I want everything.
Oh yeah.
And so I took the auto rickshaw Uber, which we went 45, so when you're in a city of 12.5 million people, Portland's got nothing on that.
No. Oh fuck. No,
nothing.
Like not even.
I think Oregon is 3.5 million. Roughly in Oregon, 3.5 million.
Yeah,
total in Oregon.
And I want to say the metro area is a little over 1 million. It's like 1.6,
something like that. Yeah,
right. So I think Bangalore. I'd have to look on a map, but I don't think Bangalore is much bigger than Portland.
Oh shit!
Wow,
really?
But it's so dense, and there's so many people fucking everywhere.
Oh my
Just
god!
Shit stacked on top of shit everywhere.
That is intense.
And I might be
so
way
many
off.
people.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it's 12.5 million fucking people.
Even if it's 12.5 million people in a place that's double the size of Portland,
Right?
that's
Think
a lot
LA.
of
What's
fucking
LA?
people.
3.5 million?
I honestly
tell
don't
you.
know.
Okay.
I know it's
Yeah.
360.
It ain't
square miles of
12.5
pavement,
million.
but-
Yeah.
It's not 12.5 million. I don't think it's even in the top 25 biggest cities in the world.
Well, it's LA is just it's not dense.
It's sprawl.
It's sprawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time sprawl.
Like if you want density, you got to go to New York.
Right,
you know?
East Coast stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got that with Bangalore. So I got in this rickshaw and I was like, hey, take me to this massage, take me the Uber, take me to this. And you can get a regular taxi, but you're haggling price. The nice thing about Uber is it's like I pay X number of dollars or rupees, and I pay electronically, so there's no cash transaction. There's none of the bullshit.
That sounds ideal.
It is ideal
Yeah.
because you're going to get ripped off by taxis. They're going to want to take you to their buddies' souvenir shops because they get commission off of that.
Dead Sea products.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was listening to that and I was like,
Right?
yeah, and if anybody hasn't listened to that podcast, they should go back and listen to it because that is exactly what they all want to do.
Yeah.
Because they get a cut of that.
Yep.
Of
yep.
course.
Yep.
You know, and I get it. You know, you're trying to hustle.
Sure,
So
everybody's
what are you
trying
going
to
to do?
hustle, yeah.
Exactly. But it's like, I'm not here to go see your buddy's shop. I'm here to get the fuck across town. So it was like 45 minutes from my hotel to this shop, or this massage parlor. And it cost me less than $5 US for a 45-minute drive across Bangalore.
Wow.
And it's like,
God.
and I don't know how many kilometers it was, but it was a fucking long ways. And so then I think like, okay, you think an Uber driver, right? Like, maybe you're picking people up from the Portland airport, dropping them off somewhere, but like wherever you go on your Uber day of work, you're going to end up probably by the time you finish your day, probably within a half hour, 45 minutes of home.
Sure.
That guy,
yeah.
I mean, city $12.5 million, he might end up hours from home, depending on where his customers are.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think about a 45-minute ride in our metro area, and that's like the airport to Woodburn. Like
That's a ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the time of day.
Sure,
It might
but-
be the airport to IKEA.
Yeah.
Depending on things. But,
I mean-
but really, in general, yeah, it's a long way.
Well, you're paying a pretty penny.
Oh
for that,
yeah,
too,
like so
you
when I
know?
go from PDX to Hillsboro, it's $50 plus
Yeah.
gratuity.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
holy crap, that is so much cheaper than like old school cabs used to be. You know, like
Oh, when I'm at the airport, all the cabs are lined up at the Portland airport,
Yep.
and the Ubers and the Lyfts are just go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, do you guys haggle the cabs? Like, do you get like, will you do it for $50? Like, I wonder. Like, I've never asked one. Like,
they're
do
all
you wanna
drive around. Who
yeah,
knows?
like, do you want to sit here all day, or you take me to Hillsboro for $50? Like,
Yeah. Right.
because
Well-
I have no problem taking a cab. It's just Uber's cheaper.
Well, and like not to get too far off on this tangent, but like my roommate used to drive for Lyft, and he said that all of the cab drivers here in town exclusively used rideshare because it was cheaper. And
That's crazy.
He gave a ride to these, and I won't mention which cab company they worked for, but they definitely told him, and they were like, "Oh yeah, man, like." Sure, this is killing our business, but we're still going to take the cheapest ride that we can get, right?
Yeah.
I
Wow.
was just like, holy shit!
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, like that tears it. I don't care anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I remember Owl Taxi and Ben. They had those old checker cabs.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you
Owl,
remember
dude.
those. It's like classic New
Oh,
York.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
looks like a 57 Chevy sort of ish.
Yeah.
Checker cabs. Yeah, I remember taking
Oh
those.
yeah,
and
my folks used to do that shit all the time when
Really?
we go out drinking. You know?
Oh yeah, sure. But they weren't cheap.
Oh God, no.
They were expensive.
Cabs are never cheap.
Yeah.
No, and I swear sometimes I was getting ripped off by them too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
their meters are fast
Oh, yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like, fuck, I would take a cab from the Roseland back to my house on Oak Street and be like $50.
Jesus,
Except in New York. You ever take a cab in New York?
I've never been to New York.
It's fucking insane, dude. I'm like, I will pay you a couple extra dollars to slow down. 'Cause, like, I do not need you
I don't want to die today.
flying
Yeah.
through these streets going like 40 or 50, like
Oh my
in packed
God.
traffic, and you're like, oh god.
Holy shit! No, I never took a cab in New York. I took the subway.
And that was every cab I ever took in New York was like that. It was like, it wasn't just that one driver. It was everyone did it.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I know. It's all right. You know, and these little tangents sometimes produce some real gems.
Yeah.
So I went to this massage place. They were booked solid. I was like, God damn it, you know, because it's like my phone plan. I got an international plan in India, and it seemed like a good deal, except I was not savvy to shutting off all the background data stuff.
Right.
So by the time I got home, my phone bill was a little over $1,200.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof. That's tough.
Yeah.
Because you're roaming and your phone's still
So-
updating all of your fucking background.
Exactly.
apps
And I
shit.
ended up shutting off some of it, but it's like, man, I still need to use my Google Maps.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to surf shit, and even if I'm not on Wi-Fi. And I got to the point about 2/3 of the way through the trip where I was like, fuck it. It's just going to be what it is, and
Right.
fuck it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's just another expense.
So
Yeah, I
exactly.
get it.
So I would say like, and I even downloaded offline Google Maps, and like,
Yeah.
it was kind of a pain in the ass. And so I would say, if you're really on a budget, turn your fucking phone off when you're not on Wi-Fi, and buy a fucking flip phone and a SIM card.
Right, I was going to say, they've got to have cheaper plans over there.
They do. They really do. Some of them require you to have a passport photo with you, which is weird and like jumps through some weird hoops. So take an extra passport photo and ID and shit. But I would say if you're really budget conscious, get a phone over there, get a SIM card over there for your phone, whatever.
Right. No, that's a good pro tip for sure.
Yeah, because otherwise, even if with an international plan, like the phone calls and text messages, not a big deal. It's the data.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
How many phone calls do you make?
Yeah, like none.
Exactly. How many? You send a lot of texts,
Sure,
but when you're
but that's
12, 13-hour time difference between other people that you know,
it's not gonna be much.
you don't text much.
Right.
You are using data.
Absolutely.
And so
especially with maps and stuff.
Yes, you fucking... And then auto updates on stuff.
Yeah.
You chew through data. So that's my pro tip for that is like turn off your phone, except when you're in a hotel where they got the Wi-Fi and stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so I was there for a day by myself. My friend shows up. I go to the airport. I meet him, and like I had slept some.
Wait, no. How was the massage?
I didn't get one because they were right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
okay.
they were booked, and so I said, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna. I'd taken an Uber there, so I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna walk this direction.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what direction I go. I'm just gonna walk this way because this street looks interesting. And I just kind of fucking walked around for a while and explored. Took some pictures. There's street vendors, and it's like produce vendors, and it's like, man, their fruit is all stacked all beautifully, and because they're trying to appeal to local people. It's not just like throwing shit. It's like farmers market kind of stuff, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Because
that's cool.
a lot of people, they live in these nooks and crannies, and they just create little businesses selling what the fuck ever right out of their living room, basically.
Yeah.
So like the storefront, and then they live above it or behind it, and so there is shops everywhere, and it's not like here where I'm going to Safeway or I'm going to Fred Meyer. Like there's not these. There were malls, and we did go to a couple of malls, but it's like American pricing or more, like.
Right.
High end. Like, whoa, I can't afford this shit.
It's like
kind of
capital
expensive.
kind of shit.
So they have that, but it's because the disparity of income,
locals.
which is kind of like what's happening in this country, where the disappearing middle class is happening.
Right.
You've got the ultra wealthy. Like I saw a Ferrari. It's like, and the streets there suck. Like you think Portland streets are bad? I mean, it's horrendous, and it's like, where are you driving this fucking Ferrari?
Seriously,
like, I
right?
mean, there's everybody. Traffic is insane because they don't have as many laws.
It's gotta like stick out like a sore thumb too,
And
right? With all the other
So I don't know
rickshaws and bicycles.
Auto
and
rickshaws.
stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, man, I certainly cannot afford a fucking Ferrari. So it's like there's the ultra rich, and then everybody else, basically.
Yeah.
There is a middle class, but it's not like it's not even like here. And here, I feel like the middle class is kind of here, in my opinion, is kind of disappearing in the sense that middle class is now living like middle class, but debt laden.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean? So you've got like poor
Keeping
people
up
that are
appearances.
scraping by or not. Then you've got middle class that's debt laden, and then you've got people that it doesn't even matter.
Right.
They just buy
Ultra
what
wealthy,
they want.
yeah.
So there, it's just rich and poor, pretty much. So you got these malls, but you don't have these shops or these stores where it's all in one, like Walmarts and
Right.
stuff. You've got streets that there's shops on, and then you kind of like, okay, I need, like when we showed up for the rickshaw run, and you get your rickshaw, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but it's fine. There's too many little rabbit holes. You show up on the first day that your rickshaw is available, and you can test drive it. And it's like, we test drove it a little bit, and it's weird because it's kind of like if you've ever driven a Vespa, it's kind of like that. Like, you got your clutch lever, but then your shifter is on your gas lever as well. Like, it's a click thing on the right grip.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it's a three or four speed. I don't remember exactly. But you got to, pull in your clutch, and then it's a pull start as well.
Yeah. Right.
And so we learned to drive it, but there was some people fucking around like for hours driving it just because it was amusing to drive it. But we were thinking, these probably start out full of gas, and the less we drive it now, the further we can get without having to fill it up.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but then it was also like, okay, it's mixed gas, so we need to find two-stroke oil. We need to find a gas can. We need to find, like, I brought some tools, some hand tools, but we also need to get like some. I didn't bring wire strippers. I need a flathead screwdriver that I didn't bring. Just some random shit.
Yeah, sure.
You got to pimp your rickshaw. We need little dingle balls and shit.
Yeah.
Like streamers and flags.
Well, and they painted it for you.
Yeah. So
and
and
it's like you're saying, you want to go through it and find out if there's anything that's just electrical tape.
I had to mine was all like every wire connection was electrical taped, and I'm like. 2,000 miles of bumping, all those wires are going to come loose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to crimp connect every single one. It's got little shitty incandescent headlights that are like 1 watt, like...
What?
Yeah, there's little tiny like bike headlights.
Holy shit.
And first of all, you don't want to drive in India at night because it's the lug nut rule there. So cows are at the top of the pyramid, and then semi-trucks... whatever has the most lug nuts wins.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like in America where a semi-truck will, jackknife to stop for a pedestrian.
Right.
Sure.
It's like, well, pedestrians get the fuck out of the way because this 40,000-pound rig is coming down the street. It's common sense.
Seems legit, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like we talk about greenhouse gas and being clean and energy efficient. Well, what is more energy efficient? Using up all of the kinetic energy that this vehicle has expelled in fossil fuels to stop, and then burning up a bunch in potential energy in the fossil fuels to restart again so you can wait for a pedestrian, or you just drive and then the pedestrian moves their happy ass across the street when it's clear.
Right.
Really, you're using less fuel if the pedestrian waits for it to be clear vehicles.
Right.
Now, you don't want to run somebody down, but at the same time, pedestrians wait for cars to finish going across the street.
So just like semis haul and don't stop, and then
and yes, and the stop signs, stop lights are only a suggestion.
Yeah.
Unless there's a cop there, then you stop, unless there's a clearing, and then you go. And the lines on the road, like no passing and all that, that says. Nobody even fucking pays attention. Like, you'll pass on corners, blind corners. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, oh, well, here's an oncoming semi, and I'm in my rickshaw passing in a blind corner, no passing zone. Well, that's what the shoulder's for. Yeah. You just fucking get your happy ass on the shoulder and let the semi have the lane because he's got more lug nuts than you. And that's how it works. Nice. So yeah, and it's like there's
fucking Mario Kart rules.
Very much.
That's so funny.
Yes, and so you just might make your way, and it's like if you need, like, there's intersections there that's like 15 lanes converging, and it's like, yeah, it's a roundabout, but maybe it's faster to cut to the left of the roundabout than to go all the way around to the right. So you just kind of like cut through, and the honking, like they honk like it's almost incessant.
It's just to let other drivers know where you are.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm here. It's not, in the U.S., the horn is a fuck you.
Right, yeah.
Right? In India, it's like, hey, I'm here. And then to turn, you kind of lean out and make eye contact. You don't even have to, you want to make eye contact, but if you don't, whatever. And you just kind of flap your arm like down, like in a downward direction, like, hey, like, let me in, I'm turning right, or whatever. Or you lean out the left and do the same. And so the guy that's driving drives and focuses on the road ahead. The guy in the back, kind of, he's the turn signals. And also when you're cruising across the country, like, he's the guy that feeds the driver snacks and makes sure the driver, hey, you want a drink of water or whatever, or mango drink or whatever. Here you go.
Mango lassi, hell yeah, dude.
Oh, and lassi is good too. So lassi's good for like easing out your stomach. It's kind of a milk sort of. Not really. I wouldn't say milkshake. Oh yeah, it's a yogurt drink.
Nice.
Sometimes there's sweet lassi, and then there's regular lassi, I guess. I don't know, but like there's some that it's.
Oh, what a sweet lassi!
Yeah, sweet lassi. But it is good. It's like a smoothie almost.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, it's like halfway between like kefir and a milkshake.
Yeah,
nice.
But it's delicious.
Ooh, I'm in.
Yeah, and in fact, you can go to like the Indian markets around here and ask for a sweet lassi, and they'll make it for you. And it's good. It aids digestion. Like if you're having some heartburn or indigestion, it'll actually help with it.
Oh, baby.
And it's pretty
cheap. I ever?
Yeah, so I would say try it. Go to an Indian market and give it a try.
All right.
Yeah. So
Wait, I think you were back at your
picking my friend up.
Yeah, your buddy arrived at the
Right, so he arrived.
hotel.
So now he was coming off 27 hours ish of travel,
Jeez.
and I was keyed up because like I'd had a day.
Right.
Right.
Like,
Now,
I'm good to go.
I was picking him up super early, but then he's running on adrenaline because he's super excited.
Yeah.
So we stayed up through that day because he showed up at like 5 a.m. We stayed up through that day, did our thing. We went exploring. Then we got to the venue for the rickshaw run and kind of met the other teams. You see your rickshaw for the first time.
And this was the like opening ceremony party thing?
No, this was, hey, we're meeting everybody. You're getting registered. You're getting your T-shirts.
Oh, like a little preview thing.
Exactly. You can check out your ricks, and then tomorrow you're going to drive them. And so we checked it out, and it's like you get to pick whatever theme you want. Mm-hmm. So I had a friend who does graphic design, and I was like, hey, like here's kind of the layout of the vehicle. Can you design me? Just throw out some ideas. I thought of like, I didn't want anything that was offensive. I didn't want anything dumb. Like I wanted something funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
So it was like I'd been like, okay, give me like a Barbie theme, a My Little Pony theme.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
Like fucking ridiculous. Like, come on, let's do something funny.
You want it to be out there.
What we ended up going with was a Big Lebowski themed auto rickshaw.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So, and actually, when I get home, I will text you some. So when you finish, they give you a miniature tuk-tuk that they have had their dudes paint to look like your Rick.
Oh, cool.
And so I've got a miniature auto rickshaw that's painted exactly like mine was painted.
That's awesome.
It's the dude's rickshaw.
Yes, so the back half is painted like his Pendleton sweater.
So good.
Yes.
And then the front is the scene where he gets hit in the head and he's like floating down the bowling lane between the legs.
Pins. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like his googly face and then the legs.
Yes.
Love it.
So that was our auto rickshaw, and like I was pumped. Like some people had some really good ideas, and the painters like hit it out of the park. Like these people, these Indians are so talented. It's like, how do you like some of the people? I feel like ours was, I liked the theme because I liked The Big Lebowski. Like it's one of the best movies of all time. And is like a cult, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
and justifiably so. But some people, I felt like, wow, that was a really cool theme that you came up with. And I've got some pictures, but I can't think of any offhand. However, I just remember thinking, that's awesome. And then the people that painted that did a bang-up job.
Yes.
Because it's all hand-painted.
Yeah.
There's no, like, wraps where you just, like, scan and cut and paste and then print it on a wrap and then wrap the vehicle.
Right.
None of them were wraps. They were all hand painted.
Wow.
It's much cheaper to have somebody who knows how to paint.
Because
and
labor
do all
costs
that
nothing
shit.
over there.
Yeah.
Well, and not to get too far off track, but there's actually a law in India that if a job can be done by hand, it has to be.
Yes.
So if
right.
say there's a 50,000 square foot hotel, the slab for that hotel, they mix the concrete in wheelbarrows,
Yes.
and they dump it. It's
Yes.
like a million cold joints all across the slab.
Just so shitty.
Yeah.
Like if there's an earthquake, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And the scaffolding is like bamboo.
Exactly.
And, yes. And
Wow.
it is so
But
bad.
that's how they keep all the
in an effort
super
to
low
employ.
cost employees employed.
employing
Wow.
as many people. Because, you bring a backhoe in that does a job of 20 people. Now you got 20 unemployed Indians.
Exactly.
Right. And
So-
if you're that population dense, it's just fucked.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to hold back the equipment or trying to stifle the advancement of the culture. It's, no, we're trying to employ all of these fucking people. Which it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes
That's the way to
sense.
do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like either you do that or you're going to have even poorer people.
Right.
Exactly.
That are even more outcast.
And they get real desperate.
Yeah.
Right.
So it makes sense. And it's like all you can do, really.
Wild.
Yeah, so they were painted amazing, and then we got to meet everybody and kind of you kind of develop some acquaintances and whatnot. I would say I didn't make any permanent friends there.
Yeah.
Some people probably did. While during the journey, there were some people I stayed in contact with, but it kind of dissipates, and that's fine. You don't always make friends, whatever. But then the second day we go and we drive them, and we're kind of getting like lists formulated of like, here's what we want. And I'd bought some LED lights on Amazon for the headlights because I'd looked at those and gone, no, that's crap. So I brought them with me. Like I'd bought them ahead of time, and so I put on the headlights and rewired the thing, and we kind of went through everything and checked it out, made sure everything was good, and made sure the lug nuts were tight, and made sure there's air in the tires, make sure the spare had air,
right?
That kind of stuff. And I was drawing on my my experience as a mechanic and my experience as a former tow truck driver to kind of go, okay, like what's going to go wrong, or what could go wrong with this thing,
right? Yeah.
And then
sounds like some good experience to have for such
my God,
thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is something that everyone who's doing this shit needs to do,
Yeah. So, and then I was kind of like going around and talking to people and kind of feeling people out and like, hey, so what do you do? There's a lot of people that worked in offices that did this,
right.
And they had zero mechanical knowledge.
Yeah.
And they kind of did a mechanical briefing of the rickshaw and how it works to everybody. And I kind of like stood in the back and kind of listened in for a few minutes and quickly realized, this isn't for me. Like, this is basic.
I know what I need.
Well, right. Because it sounds
Yes.
like wrenches, screwdrivers, and like some other hand tools are basically all.
If you could fix a lawnmower, then you could fix this thing. Really, exactly. I mean, but a lot of people don't have that knowledge. They don't understand the theory of an internal combustion engine, so they don't even know it doesn't work.
Right.
So then they had a group WhatsApp, and I appeared on that fairly early and was messaging people, and it was like, hey. And I told people what I did for a living, and I'm like, hey, because I like to help people.
Oh, yeah.
That is something I enjoy doing. It's not like, oh, I'm bragging and I'm so much better. It's like, no, like if you need help,
draw on my knowledge.
Ask me. I'm happy to. And there was many people over the course of the event that so like help. And they'd send pictures. I'm like, hey, try this or do this, and then they'd be back on the road, and we're because it's like I want to see everybody finish.
Yeah,
I want to see everybody at the party, and I want everybody to have a good time.
That's awesome.
And the breakdowns are part of it, but it's not. You don't want that to be it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You want the drama from the breakdown because that's definitely going to add to the experience. But you also want to get back on your feet swiftly
and get going, and explore India, not be like stuck in one spot. So
no kidding, yeah.
You practice your driving. We spent a couple of days like getting shit together for our run, finding stickers, going to the market, finding shit swag for our rickshaw. We got our shit loaded on the rickshaw, and then the day you take off, it's like head out, and then like that's when it really hits you. Like they have drummers and like a starting line, and you go across, and then it's like you go from taking Ubers in India to holy fuck, I'm driving on these fucking roads. Like, I'm not just like the passenger in the back kind of It's like now I'm responsible. Now it's like real, So you're driving fucking, and the people coming at you, they don't know hey, I'm from America and I have no experience driving on Indian roads. They don't give a fuck, and they don't know you. So
like I'm part of this charity adventurous thing. No.
So at the very beginning, you got a fuckload. Like there was, I think, about 75 teams.
Wow.
Which was way more than I was expecting.
How many times a year do they run these?
2.
Wow.
Every 6 months. So normally they do Cochin to Jaisalmer and then Jaisalmer to Cochin.
Okay.
There was some flooding in Cochin to the point where it was like people died and things are washed out and it's disaster.
Damn.
And so they said, okay, we can't start there. We don't have the infrastructure. The people we normally work with aren't able to handle it. So we're going to bump it up north a little bit to Bangalore. And we'll go from Bangalore to Jaisalmer instead, which shortened the journey. And I was bummed a little bit at first because I was like, man, we're not going as far. It's a little bit less of a challenge.
Yeah.
It was the same challenge. It was just we had more time to explore,
there you go.
Which was actually a blessing in disguise.
And remind us again of what part of the year this took place in. You said
right. So end of December to end of January, which is like their summertime over there.
Exactly.
It's your past monsoon season. And it's not like cold and rainy or shitty. It's like I mean, and honestly, we had amazing, like, 70-ish degree weather the whole fucking time.
Nice.
So it's not like nasty, slimy, sweaty fucking mugginess.
Right.
And it's not... It was cold. The further north we got, it was colder in the mornings. Like, put a jacket on and wear a scarf.
Shit, though. Yeah.
It was brisk
that's perfect.
in the mornings.
Get you going.
Yeah. And you get more of an excuse to stop for some chai.
There you go. Right?
So
yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, so...
Awesome.
We head out. We really, and because you don't know if you're going to break down that day, you don't know what road exactly you kind of have an idea of like, hey, we kind of want to go this way, but you really, Google Maps can kind of be a little glitchy, and it's like there was more than once where it was like, oh wait, we lost service. I thought we were on this road. The maps was kind of going that way, but wait, no, we're on
classic
this road.
Google Maps.
Yeah.
We will lead you just far enough to get out of signal, and then, oh, shit, where are you? Good luck, fucker.
Yeah, so we would end up... There was more than once where it was like, oh, no, we should have been on that road instead of this road. But we always had we would fill up our gas can... And then we had extra oil and all the, I'd bought all the parts. And then when, like, I was buying parts and people knew, like, I was the only mechanic on the adventure. Out of 75 ricks, I was the only mechanic. And I work on some pretty complex machines, and so, like, people saw me, like, buying head gaskets and cables and spark plugs, and they're asking me, like, hey, like, should we buy this? I was like, you want at least one extra head gasket? And I said, there's 2 different styles of head gaskets, so get one of each in case one works better than the other. Get a couple of spark plugs, because 2-strokes foul spark plugs, they just do. Make sure you got oil, gas can, blah, blah, blah. So, basically everything I bought, everybody that saw me buy it bought the same stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And it's like so they had all this stuff available for you to buy there because they hire mechanics to kind of help you at the start, and then that's it. So those mechanics are savvy, and they go, hey, we just buy a bunch of spark plugs, we can mark them up, resell them to these people. And it's still dirt cheap. Yeah. So I told these people, I'm like, just fucking buy one of everything that they've fucking got here. And if you make it to the end with it, who the fuck cares? You spent, what, $20? Like, who gives a shit? Like, if you need a head gasket and you're in bumfuck India, what's that worth to you?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And because you didn't want to spend $2 on it at the beginning of the rally, like, fuck off. Then you deserve to fucking sit there.
You seriously. Yeah. And what if you end up in that magical place that's 2 weeks from everywhere? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fortunately, that really
goddamn geographical oddity.
I found the mystery spot of India. Fuck. So. Yeah, so we got our shit and we headed out, and most of the team stopped at the very first gas station, which we had already had our gas can full. Our Rick was basically full because we didn't fuck around. Right. And we just headed on. And that's another thing is getting gas in remote places. Sometimes it's not very good gas. Right. Like, it may have sat for a while. It may have water in it. Right. So there was a couple times we definitely got some bad gas, and it's hard to tell bad gas. Right. Oftentimes those particulates are suspended in the gas, and you don't just see a slug of water in the bottom.
Sure.
So it would just run shitty for a while, and it's like, okay, well, next time we have the chance, let's fill up and, flush this shit through.
Yeah.
And so, being a white person in India, that's another thing. First of all, white people, the average white person that goes to India is not American. They're British or European, and the British colonized India, and the Indians, they are very forgiving people, and I don't feel like most of them hate British people, but that's kind of British are a bit annoying, because they were colonizers, but they like Americans because they say that Americans are polite. Americans are quieter than the British, and I said to some of them that I was talking to, I said, hey, don't forget, British colonized us too, and we kicked their asses out too.
Right?
Yeah. So it's like,
I like that.
It's like, hey, we're in the same boat, we're on the same team here. It's like
we both kicked off the yoke of British rule.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe we emulated them a little bit, and maybe we oppressed some people too. However, I feel like we're turning the corner about that, and but they appreciate American people, and they don't meet a lot of American people, and so they in general they like Americans, and they don't associate Americans necessarily with American politics, left or right.
Yeah,
they just they kind of take it on an individual basis, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
It is, but they're also very curious, and so they want, if they know two words in India, it's like hi and selfie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they know the word selfie, and then they want a selfie with you, maybe on your phone. Like they just want to, like, hey, take a selfie of us. It's like, well, you're not gonna have a copy of this, and they don't give a shit. They just want a selfie. Like, maybe to know that they're on your phone.
Right.
I heard from a few of the
cute.
women that were on because they're a lot more patriarchal than America is.
Yes.
Right.
And so some of the women had found out that a lot of these Indian guys were wanting pictures with the European women or white women.
Yeah.
So they could tell their buddies that was their girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which is, I mean, but you know what? It's like, I'm not there to put my stamp on their culture. It's like, I'm not there to shove my culture down their throat. It's like, that's your culture. You guys figure it out yourselves. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to drive this fucking 3-wheeled contraption across your country, buy food from you, shake your hand, have selfies with you, and hopefully learn some things from you.
Yeah.
And appreciate your culture. And so
Beginning of the adventure.
Passing the gas station. Yes. Okay. So everybody kind of. We good?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody kind of peeled off at the first gas station, and the vast majority of people. We just kept going, and there were some other teams that kept going, and within, I want to say, an hour, there was like maybe 2 or 3 other teams kind of within eyesight, and then just by the end of the day, we're kind of alone. I mean, it pretty quickly went from a fuckload of auto rickshaws in a row on the road to basically just us. And
because you had sort of left everyone in the dust.
No, just everybody. Some teams went back. As soon as we left, you could go left or right. And left was heading out on the adventure. Right was you're kind of going back towards Bangalore.
Oh, okay.
Some teams went back towards Bangalore because they realized, fuck, we spent the last 3 days partying and didn't get any of the shit we need to fucking go out on this adventure.
Right.
And so we weren't one of those. So we went to the left, and then a lot of those teams went, fuck, we spent the last 2 days doing Brodies in our auto rickshaw, and there's probably not any gas left in this thing, because they got very small gas tanks.
Yeah.
And so we should probably get gas here. And we had our gas can pre-filled. We had the rick filled. We had our tools. We had everything. I had even wired in USB lightning plugs for our fucking iPhones. I had everything done. It was we can go now. Let's go. And because I wanted to enjoy the adventure, not be bogged down by the mechanical failures.
Right.
Shit.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So our first breakdown happened day 2.
Oh my god!
So
despite all the preparation,
right? Yeah. Well, you can't. It's India.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and furthermore, these engines are made to not run forever.
yeah, we got almost 70,000 kilometers on the odometer by the time we took off, and that's a lot for a
you're gonna
two-stroke.
have to replace something. Yeah.
Right. Now, when I looked at it before we left, I was like, okay. It looks clean. The carburetor looks extremely clean, not all dusty, which tells me that somebody's gone through it.
Right.
The cables look new. Even though the cables look new, and they looked new.
Yeah.
I'm still going to buy cables just in case one's defective or something.
Yep.
So the cables look new. The carburetor looked clean and like it had been pulled off and fixed and cleaned up. Head gasket looked good. I didn't see any exhaust blowout around the head gasket at all. And on a 2-stroke, it's stupid simple because it's air cooled.
Yeah.
4 bolts, you got the head off. You can have the head gasket replaced on one of these little things in 10 minutes, start to finish, done.
Wow.
If you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you don't know what you're doing and you got somebody kind of telling you, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Wild.
But that's kind of the beauty of this and the simplicity of it is that and that's why you find these in third world countries, is because you can fix them with a rubber band and bubble gum.
Yeah.
Really. So, day one, no issues. We're cruising along, having fun. You catch up to other teams, you're like, woo, wave and take pictures. And, some guy in his own rickshaw who's just an Indian, like, threw a bunch of roses at us. And so we had rose petals, like, floating around in our fucking,
Nice.
And they got, like, chrysanthemums and shit. And they'll hand you flowers. And it's,
Right on.
very cool people.
That's
and
cute.
Day 2, we're out, we're cruising along, and it's like road construction everywhere. And my friend is driving, and he's like, it's losing power. And I'm like, head gasket? I'm thinking head gasket immediately, because if it's losing power, if you have a blown head gasket, you lose compression, you lose power, and it
Makes
takes a
sense.
shit, right? It wasn't the head gasket. So I was like, okay, we'll pull over here. So we found a place like kind of off the highway, because you want to get off the highway, because there's fucking semis, cars, trucks, fucking herds of cows, random shit. Like, let's just get off. So we pulled off into this fucking road and went up the hill. It was a lion and tiger preserve.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, like, and we pulled into this spot, and it was like, there's a couple of fucking plastic chairs there, like plastic lawn chairs, and I was like, okay, well, cool, I have a lawn chair, I can work on this thing, and I started, like, pulling the back open, and, like, looking at shit, and, not sure what this is, I take the bowl off the carburetor, make sure there's no grit or dirt in it or anything, in case we had some bad gas, and then I noticed that there's, like, a fucking, almost like a crow's nest in the middle of this clearing that we're in, where, like, people sit up there, like, there's a ladder going up to it, and I'm like, wait a minute, lion and tiger, wait a minute, like, so people get up there so the lions and tigers can't get to them, and I'm just thinking, fuck, like, is there lions and fucking tiger, like, this is India, there's tiger attacks, like, people die from being attacked by tigers.
You're like,
in
I'm
fucking
gonna
India.
preserve, and maybe there's just not like fences or anything.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. And so I didn't know. Now I'm here, so obviously I didn't die from a tiger attacking me. But there was also monkeys.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. So there was also like a fuckload, and I don't know what kind of monkeys they were, but they were these little
Shit hurling kind.
They weren't rhesus monkeys that I can tell, but there was a shitload of them, and they were like aggressively staring at me while jacking off, like these little monkeys.
Oh, so they were rapist monkeys.
Yeah, yes, they were rape monkeys. And no, it was like, I'm dead serious. Like, they would sit here and they would just stare at you while jerking their little wang. Like, it was disturbing. And I'm like,
maybe they just had resting killer face.
but it was the eye contact.
I think they just call those Louis monkeys now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God. Yeah, right? It's like, I'm kind of uncomfortable
wrong.
with this, Like, it was uncomfortable. And so there was like a good half dozen monkeys jacking off while I'm like trying to figure out this problem with my auto rickshaw. And, they're it's not humans, so that's good. But it was a little disturbing,
Yeah, you're like, all right, well.
And they would get closer and closer. Like, they'd stop jerking off and they'd get kind of closer, and just because they're curious about what you are, know. So it turned out that there was a little piece of, it almost looked like cigarette cotton in the jet of the carburetor. And fortunately, one of the things I'd brought was a sewing kit, so I had a needle, and so I could just poke the little shit, like take the jet out. Like, you drop the float bowl out, and then you take the needle out, and then you unscrew the jet and drop the jet out, and then you take a needle and you poke it. If I showed you how to do this, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, simple, 5-minute job."
Yeah.
And I had rubber gloves with me, so I don't get gas on my hands.
How'd the cigarette filter get in there?
I don't think it was cigarette filter. It just kind of looked like that.
Okay.
I think it was just like maybe some shit that blew off a tree into a gas can, and at some point ended up in the gas tank, which then ends up in the fucking. There was inline
Tiger
filters.
fur.
Who knows? But it ended up in the carburetor.
Yeah, all right.
It could have been a piece of filter from maybe the inline filter was old and falling apart.
Fair.
And so we fixed that and like back on the road, good to go.
Nice.
And so we went from. I don't remember, honestly, a lot of the towns that we stayed in, I don't remember the name. Now, if I went back on my Google timeline, because that was something, like, as far as all the Big Brother stuff, I actually keep my I let Google track me only
Me too.
Only so that I can look back at my Google timeline and see where I was.
Same.
And it maps you out, like, exactly. It's kind of creepy.
They're tracking me, so I might as well track me too.
Yes, and so I was using it for that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to know exactly where I went. Like, December 29th, 2018, at 4 o'clock, where was I?
Right.
And I know where I was.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, we went up...
Now, you said you Airbnb'd almost everywhere, and you kind of had everything, like, set up ahead of time?
So, yeah. So you either Airbnb or you just Google, like, hotels near me. Really.
Okay.
And so... Honestly, a lot of it was the hotels. Like, you just roll into a town and it's like, okay, it's going to be dark in like 45 minutes. Where's the next town? All right, it's 100 kilometers away. We're not going to make the next town before dark. We might as well just post up here.
All right, and you're not doing any driving at night, if you can help it.
If you can help it, no, because it's just not safe.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you could get run over. There's accidents. Like, you'll be driving along, you'll see like a burned out shell of a bus that the front is just caved in. And you're like, oh, definitely some people died on that one.
Oh, no.
And it's just off to the side of the road because it's not America. They don't go, hey, clear this off the road. We're going to tow it, and then we're going to, send you to court.
Close the highway down
send
while
you
we,
to-
clear this up.
Yeah,
and-
it's like, no, just push it off the side, and vines will grow over it eventually.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so you try to get off the roads before dark. So I had the LEDs, so fortunately, there was 2 or 3 times where we were out after dark, and it was... not long. Like, it's like, okay, we're fine. We're on our way to a place that we know of. But really, you just go find a hotel, and there are hotels, like, there were some places that my friend wanted to stay along our journey that were extremely nice, even by American standards.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I've got this one.
Even in these, like, small towns? Or were these in, the bigger
big
spots?
cities, like Pune.
So what was it like staying in the small spots?
Staying in the small spots was hit and miss. Sometimes it was either okay or it was shit.
Yeah.
And,
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah.
Right. Like your shower with like the needles that you're talking about. I was like, oh, I can totally relate to that. It's like, it's great for exfoliating your face. It's like, oh, my face feels like somebody media blasted it. Like, this is great. But like, it feels like fucking somebody kicked me in the nuts if I try to clean my junk. So I totally get all that. So some of the places we stayed were decent, like relatively affordable, like $30 a night US. Sometimes cheaper, sometimes $15-20 a night US.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking like probably the worst place I stayed. I honestly don't remember the name of the town. I have to look it up. Northern India, kind of northwest India. And it was honking horns all night, dogs barking. My pillow was like that, like a super sweat stained pillow, like the yellowy kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Gnarly.
the party house pillow. No. And like, I'm not getting under the blankets. I'm not sleeping on the pillow. Like, I fucking wore my coat or my jacket, and I fucking put my head on my backpack. And I was like, well, we're just roughing it tonight. And their showers suck for the most part because they're not like an American shower, and like they've got a lot of electricity, like rolling blackout issues, so like they'll turn off electricity to the hot water heater at night.
Right.
So you want to roll in at the end of the day and you want to shower because it's like, fuck, I've been out in the smog and the shit all day long. And I want to shower, but the shower's cold because they don't turn on the hot water until early in the morning.
Oh shit.
And then it's still like, there might be 3 or 4 knobs, and it's like, well, which combination do I have to turn to get fucking hot? There was 3 days in a row I had cold showers. And I mean, like, it goes back to like probably 18, 19 years old of like not paying the electric bill, cold shower, So like, first, like, you lived in a flop house and it was like, oh, there's no electricity today, so you gotta have a fucking cold shower, but you dealt with it because you're like 18. It's like, I'm goddamn 40 fucking years old. I want a goddamn hot I don't give a fuck where I am. It's like, if I'm paying money to stay at a place, I want a hot shower. But you just dealt with it. And then there was also like water pressure issues. Then it was like, sometimes the toilets they didn't have like tanks to flush, so you had to like fill up a bucket of water to flush the toilet.
Whoa.
I was lucky enough. There was only one pit toilet I had to use the whole trip. I was really surprised, and I only had to take a piss, so I didn't even have to squat.
That's surprising. Like, I thought it was mostly pit toilets out
They've
there.
kind of adapted. A lot of the places have adapted to the European style toilets because a lot of them are made in China, or India or Bangladesh, and so those type of toilets. Honestly, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
And they've.
You mean like the bidet sort of thing?
No, like the toilet you've got in your bathroom.
Oh, okay.
You
European
sit down on the
toilet.
thing.
Oh, okay.
Not like a pit in the ground with a couple of
Depressions for your feet.
Yeah, depressions for your feet on either side. You take your pants off and squat over and take a shit into the hole in the ground.
Yeah,
It's like a European toilet. And so a lot of places are that way. Or I just was like, well, if I have to take a leak, I'm just going to go find a friendly tree.
Yeah.
And if I have to take a shit, I'm just going to fucking hold it because I'm not going to squat on a pit if I can avoid it. Like, why? If I don't have to, I'll just wait till I get to a hotel, you know?
Right. Well, I've heard that, like, the real I almost said the real shitty thing, but the terrible thing about pit toilets isn't so much that you have to squat, because I mean that's like a normal, natural position for your body to poop in.
Sure,
it's what we did for millennia before we invented toilets.
Right,
but it's the smell, the sight, the
overspray.
Yeah, just, the general condition of said hole in the ground.
Well, but they have, typically there's a bucket and a faucet next to it that you're supposed to, like, slosh. Like, after you take a shit or a piss, you're supposed to take a bucket full of water and just slosh it to kind of clean up the area. But, man, it's not clean. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks clean, but I guarantee if you swab that bitch, like, you've got a petri dish right there.
Yeah.
Right.
So we went,
So hitting the nice hotels in the big cities were probably,
it was
coveted.
amazing. Yeah. So, and my friend was like, hey, I'll pay, like, I want to stay here.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm talking like $300 a night US.
Whoa.
So like in New Delhi, we stayed at the Imperial, and that is where Gandhi and Nehru and Lord Mountbatten negotiated the partitioning of India. And I actually got to sit at the table in the chairs that they sat in, because they still have them there.
Of course.
It's the one table and chairs that look nothing like the rest of them, because the rest is modern. But it was like, I was like, wow, like, I'm sitting where fucking Gandhi sat.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is very cool, but it's like that level of nice. Like,
wow, yeah.
Like, you feel like you could almost go in the gift shop and buy a slave or something, it sounds bad, but it's like so nice.
So it's complimentary.
Right. So you like, and this is jumping ahead a bit, like to past the rickshaw run, but I got into that hotel and like high ceilings, like I'm in a castle ceilings.
Just like extreme luxury.
Yeah, you show up, you set your shit down, like somebody carries your shit to your room, you get in your room, you close the door, and like a minute later there's a ring at your doorbell. You're like, what the fuck? And it's somebody bringing you fresh squeezed watermelon juice. Just a glass of fucking watermelon juice to be hospitable to you.
That's what they do.
Because that's what they do there. And it's like, wow, okay, thank you. And then like you walk out, like, you walk out of your room and you go to wherever in the hotel, because they have 5 restaurants or whatever, and you every single person in that hotel stops what they're doing, faces you, greets you, addresses you, and asks you if there's anything they can do. I'm talking from the guy who is a janitor sweeping the floors to whoever the fuck is walking through there that works there. Every single one addresses you. And I'm living here in Portland, you're used to shit customer service.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful for when anybody acknowledges me like that. And so it's like, no, I'm fine. It's like, do you need help sweeping or like whatever?
Right, yeah, like what can I do for you?
What can I do for you? Like, is there anything I can?
Yeah, I'm good.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, this is way more than I deserve. Do you want to bring your family in here to take showers and shit? Like, I mean, like, I have way more room than I need.
Yeah, you want to split this watermelon juice?
Why don't you have it? It's probably like yes. And when we stayed in Pune, I believe is where Gandhi lived, and I think where Gandhi's buried, I think, is in Pune, and I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. But that's also where the why am I drawing a blank right now? The Rajneeshis. That's where Bhagwan Shree was.
The whole
from
movie,
Pune.
yeah.
Yes.
It's monastery in Pune is like the name.
Yeah.
Of,
Right.
Or no,
Yes.
it's not monastery, but it's ashram in Pune.
Right.
Is the name
So
of that
that's
film.
where
yeah.
the Rajneeshis are from.
Nice,
Pune.
nice callback.
Yes. So
Movie.
Pune.
Oh yeah.
I
is
just
a
know
big.
the show Wild Wild Country.
So Wild Wild Country references the film Ashram in Pune because that was how most American audiences found out about what the Rajneeshis were up to.
Okay.
Because they showed it.
Was that their like promotional movie?
No, so they had some German guy who was like down with them. They were like, yeah, film our weird sex rituals. And like he was like, cool, let's make a really fucking radical documentary and we're gonna release it in art houses all across Europe and America.
Wild Wild Country is really good. If you haven't seen it, I
So
highly
really
recommend
good.
it.
Yeah.
And especially growing up in Central
Exactly.
Oregon.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like front row seats. And granted, our age, we were kids when that kind of stuff was
Sure.
going on, but it's still, it's like,
but I mean, it was
my
in the
mom was
news.
into Eastern religions, and
Yeah.
I can totally, like,
My folks were both like meditating, you know,
Yeah.
like, and so like, yeah, they talked about how like there were some weirdos down the road who like,
Antelope, yeah.
yeah, who were fucking shit up, and like you know when Sharon tried to poison the salad bar at whatever the fuck that was, like that was big
somewhere in
news.
Antelope.
Yeah, it was like a Sizzler or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was big news.
Yeah. So
Wild.
anyway, so that's Pune, and so we, man, and there was a few times I cried because they kidnap children there and they force them onto the streets to do tricks for them, you know, like do little
the
like
beggars?
yes, to do like little like circus acts, to sell pencils, whatever, and even the street cops are in on the whole ruse, and so you don't want to be giving them money or giving them anything. Because it's not like that money goes to that child or that child's family.
Right, it goes
that
to
child
their-
turns that money into their pimp or whatever word you want to use to describe their captor.
Their
Yeah.
handler, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that, like, you know, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and it was like, man, I love kids. And when you are sitting in the back of a cab and there is a fucking 3-year-old kid tapping on your window and like doing little backflips and like trying to get you to give them money, or when there's an old lady who's got like a 10-year-old little girl that's fucking either got her hand cut off because they will mutilate them in order to get more money. They will gouge their eyes out. They will drug fucking babies. They will walk around with dead babies. They will put fucking blood on a perfectly normal hand and bandage it to try to get money out of you. And like they will bang on your window and they will hold out whatever appendage or whatever is mutilated to try to get you to give them money. And the driver of our car and my friend, he's like, no. He's like, don't give them money. Don't. And it's like the human in me is fucking like, no. We need to like take this person to the hospital right now. This is a fucking child. Like,
Right.
Yeah. And in Pune, you're like sitting in this fucking amazing hotel with that's like all the creature comforts, and you're looking out your window on a fucking ghetto, and you're looking down and you see just these shanties and like a whole family piling out, and like pigs and goats and cows and shit, and then like cooking over, like they cook their food over like fucking piles of trash and shit.
Wow.
And so you think about like if you burn plastic, like all those toxins that are coming out of the plastics going into their food, going into their lungs, going into the air, like it makes me feel like you can give, and my friend had a really good way of saying this. He's like, you can give away every fucking thing you have. Like, you can give away every penny you have and to all these people around you, and it's not going to make a difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference.
And is that a lot due to the corruption and the sort
It's
of system
due
that's set
to
up?
how much overwhelming poverty there is.
Right, but say you even wanted to help one particular child, it's part of a larger system. Like, can you even affect anything? Like,
Yeah,
will you just get fucked up for trying to help? Like,
right.
I mean, you said like, I want to take this child to a hospital. Like,
Yeah.
would they let you?
Probably
You know?
not.
Exactly.
No. Because they
It's
want to keep that
fucking
kid on the street
systemic,
to be making them their money.
Right, because if the cops are in,
And the cops are in
then-
on it.
yeah, like
Right.
oh,
So
God.
what I did is, man, and like I cried a couple of times, and it's like, having traveled in first world countries and third world countries, probably even a couple of second world countries, it's like, man, I really, as hard as it is to go through a place like that, I really prefer the third world country, because I really feel like the people there, the attitude of the Indians that I met was incredible. Like, you don't have like these people that's like, oh, I've got depression and I've got, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody's depression, but it's kind of weird how the more you have, the more susceptible you are to this depression and this funk and the just anxiety and the stress, when it's like, when you don't really have anything, there's nothing to lose. So these people are making the best they could out of each and every day, and like the actual workers and the people I was meeting, is like they're just doing the best they could with what they had, and that's all they knew. They
and I think there's a lot to unpack on that conversation. So maybe we shouldn't get into it. But I get your meaning, and I think that is an interesting observation.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not trying to minimize depression.
No, not at all. It's just, oh man, the considering how hard they had to work for what little they had, their attitude and their outlook on life was astonishingly good. Yeah, I'll put it like that.
Yeah,
and and then I met a guy that I'm still in contact with, who actually just had a kid, and that was another thing, is he actually asked me to name his child.
Whoa.
Which I take as a great honor, and I had to think about it for a long time.
Seriously.
But I send his family and he has a church, and it's like I'm not sending I send his church money, not necessarily in a support of his message, but because churches over there, they're not Joel Osteen's.
Right.
They are, hey, like, we're having a monsoon and our roofs got blown off, so we come together as a group and we have a common belief, but we also re-roof each other's houses. Right. And we also make sure that, hey, everybody's got drinking water, because you don't just turn on a tap like you do here. Right. You got to get bottled water.
It's the same way in the slums in Tijuana. Like, that's the only way that anybody gets any kind of, like...
So... Anyway, I send them money every so often, and it's to support their friends and their family and their group and themselves, and just be like, man, like, this isn't really much to me, but to you, I know, like, this is a lot of days' work, so... but anyway, I'm sorry about the rabbit trail, but back on the rickshaw run. So, like, after a few days, or they said, like, okay, so third day in, meet up in Goa. And now Goa's a state, not a town. You'll hear a lot of people that like, oh, I'm on a yoga retreat in Goa, and it's like, or I'm going on a wellness retreat, or I'm going to the beach in Goa. It's like, well,
yeah, there's the beach, there's the mountains, there's the forest.
Right, where in Goa? Because it's like, that'd be like, oh, I'm going to a retreat in Oregon. Like, well, where in Oregon?
Yeah, great.
Are you going? Yeah. So they said we're throwing a party at Palalam Beach in Goa, and it was like, rad. Okay, now Goa's. I'd like to go just because I've heard about Goa, right? Uh-huh. And so we went to Goa, and immediately you show up, and these kids showed up with a bucket full of honeycombs. Like, do you want to buy some honey?
Right.
And I love honey, man. I mean, honey's nectar of the gods,
right?
Yeah,
totally.
It's amazing. And he's like, we go out in the jungle, and it's from the palm trees and the coconuts, and like, fucking A. And I'll go, how much? And he's like, what, I don't know what he said. It was an amount that it was about $5 US. I knew he was gouging me. Yeah. But I'm like, motherfucker, you climbed up into beehives. I will pay you your $5.
Right? Yeah. This is not modern beekeeping.
And he tried to give me a shitload of honey, and I'm like, no, like, I just want to taste it. Like, I'm traveling, I don't have room for this shit.
Yeah, I can't just haul all these cups
Like, honestly, you can just give me a little bit, and I'm cool. I just want to taste your fucking delicious Indian coconut honey.
Yeah.
But they just kept trying to give me, and I'm like, no, just a little bit. But they're trying to feel like, oh, I'm trying to not rip you off, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. And so then we got there, and then we had to find lodging. And Goa's weird because the way the zoning is, they don't allow permanent structures on the beach.
Oh, okay.
So you find all these like hotels and shit, and it's just stilt houses basically.
Oh, yeah.
Temporary shit. And I want to say like $20-$25, and we had like a place that was like I could have thrown a rock and hit somebody in the head in the water. Like it was like the beach, the bar, our place.
Wow, cool.
Like, right behind it. And then it was like, okay, so we need laundry done. Well, they hand wash your laundry. So you pay them a few rupees. They hand wash your laundry. They deliver it back to you folded.
Wow.
And so it was like, let's get some food, and it's like fresh fish right out of the fucking water.
Nice.
You know, they cook it. And so it's like, okay, we can eat here because we know the fish is fresh.
Yeah.
All the vegetables are fresh. And you're drinking either beer or hard A, so you're good to go there. And I was like, my friend, he had all his like beach gear and shit, like he had shorts and stuff because he was wearing shorts most of the time. And I was like, I need to go get some shorts and I need some flip-flops because I don't have any. So he went down to the beach, and I went. Goa is very touristy, and in most of India that I experienced, people are not pushy at all because we weren't in tourist areas. But in Goa, it's very touristy, and so it's a lot of carnival barker type attitudes.
Yeah.
You know, they just want your money.
Sure.
And prices are inflated because they know they got a bunch of American gluten-free types and Europeans, and they know they can squeeze them for money.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and so
Well, it's like, you're here for a resort experience.
exactly.
So,
If you want to go to India and experience the warm beach, the Arabian Sea, the beer bottle being brought on a platter to your lounge chair on the beach, go to Goa.
Yeah.
If you want to experience India, don't go to Goa.
Right. Well, don't they have like electronic music parties and shit like that too? Yeah.
All the time. And that's cool. I love electronic music. That's my thing.
Well, I mean,
but
they invented a whole style of trance there. But
Goa Trance,
yes. They also have a Goa Hard A. Goa, it's almost like a vodka, but it's just it's their own Hard A that they make in Goa, and
snake whiskey.
It's strong. So I told my friend, hey, I'm gonna go get a t-shirt and some shorts and some flip-flops. So I walk down. Yeah, exactly. So the first place I come to, and I find this guy, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy some flip-flops, and he's totally accommodating and overpriced.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't care. But still cheap by American standards. And then I see this t-shirt, and it's this red shirt with this like Rastafarian smoking a J. And I was like, that's funny. And he's like, oh, you smoke? And I'm like, nah. I said, I can't, because it's my job. And he's like, oh. He's like, you want some hash? And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like,
quit twisting my arm, bro.
I was like, no, I can't. And I said, I'll take these shorts and these flip flops. And I said, I'll take that shirt. It's cool. And he's like, come here, let me show you something. And I'm like, all right. So we go to the back, and he pulls out the about cigarette size thing, and he's like, you want some hash? And I'm like, how much? Well, and it's like, with my job, it's like I can't, but it's like I'm gonna be gone a month.
Yeah, you're like, it won't be a while before I get back.
30 days, that's enough.
Yeah, so I said, how much? And it was like 1,100 rupees or so. It came out to like, or 1,500, it came out to like $11 or some shit.
Yeah.
And now
it's cigarette-shaped chunk of hash? That seems great.
It was over a gram, and I'm like, for hashish? All right.
Yeah.
Like, cool. And I'm in Goa, and we're going to have a party that night, so
Probably
let's do this.
Amount,
Wait, was this one of the adventure-sponsored parties?
Yes, so they said, 2 or 3 days in, they're like, hey, there's a party in Goa.
Makes
if you want to go, it's drinks are paid for, fucking food's paid for, it's everything's handled, it's right on the beach, music, DJs. Cool. Just show up if you want, but it's not required.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so...
But, you're going to show up.
Fuck yeah! A free party in Goa? What kind of idiot doesn't show up to Goa, for a party, right?
Yeah.
Well, so, just out of curiosity, how many of your group would you say made it to that?
I would say at least 3/4 of the people.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
At least, maybe more. And so I bought this hash, and I was like, I didn't know how to approach my friend, and it was like, we'd had a conversation earlier, when we were in Bangalore, about weed and about he'd smoked some, and I was like, wow, like I did not picture this guy being the type
Yeah.
to do that at all.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And like he told me he'd bought into some property that was used for growing weed. Like, like you buy the property and then you lease the land to the big conglomerates that grow.
Right.
And I was like, that's smart, like good for you. And yeah, so I was like, okay, like I can probably approach this guy. Like, he doesn't know like my background, my history. So I could probably approach him about this, but I'm going to time it. I'm just going to have this in my pocket.
Yep.
If the time comes, cool.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, cool, whatever. So, like, 20 minutes later, I was like, so I got a question to ask you. I was like, I was over there buying some flip-flops. Because, like, honestly, like, I hadn't smoked hash in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
man.
It had been a long time. Like, I'd smoked weed since then, but not hash.
Yeah, and I feel like hash is a kind of a rarity out here, unless it's like bubble hash.
It was when I smoked, when shit was illegal, like you had to know somebody to get hash because that shit had to be smuggled into the country.
Yeah, whereas in
like,
Europe, like, fuck, man, so there's some place where
totally
that's the only thing you can get.
Sure.
Nobody's growing it. It's just being imported from fucking wherever.
When I was 19, 20, I got really lucky and ended up getting a really good connection in the Midwest for some amazing hashish. And then when I moved away, that was gone, and I didn't touch hash again until I went to fucking India.
Yeah.
And, nowadays you can go into a store and buy it,
right.
which is insane. Like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not 20 now. Like, I would accomplish nothing because it's like, man, I smoked weed all the time when it was illegal. Now it's like Jesus. Like, there's no like blockade to getting it.
It's a balancing act, man.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to self-moderate. But anyway, so I asked him. I was like, hey man, like, so the conversation went like this. It was like, hey, so I went and bought some flip-flops and some shorts, and I said, I want to ask you a question, and like I totally understand if you say no, and I'll respect that, and like we'll just leave it there. But we're in India, and we're gonna be here for a while, and it's kind of a cool place, and
it's party night.
We had a discussion, earlier in Bangalore about this.
We're on the beach in Goa.
Yeah, and we're on the beach in Goa, and there's like, nobody, what happens in Goa stays in Goa. and it was just like, so the guy at the stand sold me some hash. And he's like, no shit. And I said, yeah, man. And I said, would you be interested in maybe smoking some hash? And he said, I'm really glad you asked me that.
Yes.
He said, yes, I would like to smoke some hash. He's like, but what do we smoke it out of? Like, he was already thinking, like, well, what do we smoke it out of? I said, no problem. I saw this movie a long time ago when I was 18 called Woodstock. And in that movie, it was a documentary about Woodstock. I saw a couple take a piece of tinfoil with a big ballpoint pen and make a little pipe with a pen and some tinfoil. So I said, all I need is a piece of tinfoil and a lighter, and we got ourselves a pipe, and we're going to smoke some fucking hash. Like, all right. So, sure enough, I just go to the counter at the restaurant or the bar, and I was like, hey, do you have any aluminum foil? And he's like, sure, and got me a piece, and I was like, all right, we're good. And so then I went back to my room, and I rolled it up into a fucking pipe, and I'm like, and I like gave him the hash, and he's like, it was so funny, because, he's older than me, and it just, his social status and where he is in life, it was just like, it was a trip, like seeing him handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like he like broke it a little bit, and he kind of smelled it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's good." I was like, "Yeah,
Nice.
You're so cool."
Like an old bro.
Yes,
Love
like
it.
back in the day. So sure enough, like we were at this party and kind of having some drink. We met these three girls from Amsterdam. And they were really cool. One of them, I honestly, I ended up having a conversation with her that night for like 3 hours. And me and this girl, we totally clicked. She was so cool. She'd been backpacking through Europe for 2 fucking years.
Whoa.
And her high school friends from Amsterdam got a hold of her and said, hey, we want to do this rickshaw run. Do you want to come with us? And she was like, yeah. And she was totally chill. And I feel like something could have happened between us, but I had a girlfriend back home, and I wasn't that type of guy. And it was just like, so we just had a conversation, and we talked, and enjoyed each other's company, and that was that, And
Brilliant.
yeah, so we hung out for a bit, and then he was like, hey, you want to go smoke some hash? And he was like, yeah. So we like walked, we like excused ourselves and went down to the waterfront, and the tide was out, and we just fucking took a couple of hits.
Oh, yeah.
That was all it took.
That's all it takes, right?
Yeah, and then we just like tucked it under a shell, like left the pipe under a shell. It was like, well, either somebody finds this or the tide gets it, one of the two. And we went back and, went and then, like, partied on for the rest of the night. And it was like, we were pretty good. Like, we didn't get trashed on it. We just kind of, like, elevated a little bit,
Yeah, man.
And then it was like, okay, well, now I've got this hash, and he knows I've got this hash. And so, like, tucked it into a seam in the fucking rickshaw. Like
you do.
Yeah. Hid the shit. And we were on our way. And we didn't touch it again until, let's see, we got to... Let's see, I went to a place, the Aladaj Stepwells, which was north, let's see, I think we smoked in Pune. Did we smoke it? No, we got to this hotel in Pune, and, oh, dude, I was like... We pull up, and they had a dog come around the rig.
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
On it, and I, like, immediately freaked out. I was like,
right.
Oh, shit. Like, it's a dog, but I gotta play cool. What else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, fuck. Like, if this is a drug... I honestly don't think this dog knew shit.
Because
It was like a show of force. And it's like, maybe it was a bomb-sniffing dog.
Sure.
But, there's, like, bomb dogs, bite dogs, drug dogs. And it's like, maybe it was a bomb... It certainly wasn't a biter. And it certainly wasn't a drug dog. Would have fucking found that hash,
Right.
and I was just like, oh, fucking thank God, but I was like, spooked me out. But
is it a bomb sniffing dog?
yeah, bombs, yeah, right. Yeah. If it was anything, it was a bomb dog, but I don't even think it was that. And so, like, we didn't smoke in that hotel because they had a rooftop bar, which we couldn't get away with smoking anything there because we were the only ones there, and it was way too good a customer service.
It's this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
And we couldn't do it in our rooms because it was a high-rise, and so they're all sealed windows. Like, you're not going to smoke in your fucking room. That's stupid. So we couldn't smoke there.
Wait, and is it highly illegal there?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Because...
It's immoral there.
Yes, and
wow.
they've first, it's a very patriarchal country, but they've also got... they've got Hindu extremists. It's the second largest Muslim country in the world, so they have Muslim extremists as well. So it is a very religious country.
Yeah,
the most religious country.
Weed is not legal there.
Yeah,
not at all, and especially if you're white.
Yeah,
because now not only
but
are
you can't just pay off the cops.
You are no, you can.
I was gonna say
coming into Goa, we actually got pulled over by some cops, and they tried to extort us for about 2,500 rupees, which is like $40 or so.
Yeah.
But it was like, we had all our papers, and then I asked to get a picture with them, and as soon as I asked for a picture, they're like, well, why do you want a picture? I'm like, oh, just to show my friends back home, and their tune changed, and they're like, okay, just here you go, be on your way, and they just let us go.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to say, it's illegal to drive this rickshaw here. And so it was like, well, there's like 75 more behind us, so you're gonna have a lot of problems here if this is your angle. Like, you think of a better story because
I'm right here.
We're right here. So we didn't pay them. I just smiled and acted stupid, which works anywhere in the world. Just smile and act stupid, and
universal language.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this guy's an idiot.
I mean, I feel like all of my training here in America has like gotten me to this point where I just smile and act stupid.
Yeah.